Hello, and welcome to another episode of Manifest Actual Play. Beginning of campaign 2, we're so happy to be back. We have been hysterically excited to jump into this campaign. One thing you might notice off the bat is we've played musical chairs. We're all in a different place, and we spawned a new cast member. So I'm Tommy Cotton, and with me as before are Dan Barron, Addie Giacephali, and this episode is the premiere featuring of Roman Milan of Essential NPCs fame, and all sequels go to heaven. Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you for the plug.
So we have a cast of 4 players this time around. We have cool characters and fun things to do. But before
That's a big promise, Tommy.
I think cool characters and fun things is not big. Anyways, before we jump into getting to know the characters, starting the actual play, all of that goodness, I'm gonna throw all the attention over to Addie Gia. Addie, do we have any announcements or anything we'd like to talk about prior to getting into the actual play?
Yes, I prepared for this.
You had a month.
So the first announcement is if you are one of our newest viewers, welcome. Don't forget to hit that follow and subscribe buttons if you can. All of the money that we make through our subscriptions goes straight into the stream to make it look cooler and for a better viewing experience for you. So there's that. You can also follow us on a number of our social medias. We have Instagram that we don't use. We also have Facebook and Twitter, which we do use. And if you happened to back Manifest the RPG or grab your book during the pre-order phase, you can always let us reach out to us, let us know, and we can help. We can hook you up in our exclusive backer supporter Discord thingy, which is about to get some cool new stuff to it. Maybe if I can get around to it. Don't worry, it's not a promise. Then the other thing is that if you watched this stream before, you know that I just spew different charities that we like and tell you to give your time, energy, and platforms to them if you can. Instead of doing all of them at once, we've decided to do one a month for the whole of 2021. And this year is going to start, I guess, in February with the Black Mamas Matter Alliance. If you've watched the stream before, you know that this particular organization is near and dear to my heart personally. Black women and people of color on the whole have a harder time being listened to when they interface with doctors and medical staff, and Black women in particular, especially during pregnancy and postpartum. And on average, it's shoot. Now I don't want to say because it's 1 of 4 something. Oh no. No, it's very important to me. I have all the stats. Basically, it is an organization that provides information to healthcare providers as well as support and advocacy for Black women while they are in their whole pregnancy. And it is extremely important. It is something vital to bringing equality to our healthcare systems. And all that good stuff. So that is, you can go to blackmamasmatter.org, where you can donate your time, advocacy, or hopefully your platform if you've got the bandwidth for it. We'd greatly appreciate it. And I think that's actually it. I think we've just got the 2 announcements. It's like 2.5. So I think we're good on my end. That's it.
All right.
Okay.
So, with a new campaign comes new characters. We have once again utilized the extreme talents of Kate May to bring our 4 characters to life. And I simply cannot wait anymore to share it with the rest of you. So I am going to start that footage, and we can all meet the 4 characters for campaign 2. All right, so as we saw, we have Dan Barron playing Dexter, Addie Gia playing Eloise, Seth Lilly playing Porter, and Roman Milan playing Gus. So, it's time to begin the actual play. So it is the year 427 after the departure, and the world of Manifest continues going on. A few years back, a handful of years back, there was a bit of a dust up in Tobias Station, leading to Harry Hollis, or Harriet Hollis, to be the youngest station master of Tobias Station, the youngest public official in the Fort Dearborn territory at the age of 19. And just right around that time, the Constance Grove mine in the Garden boomed with an unprecedented amount of luminescence, just flooding the market with all sorts of new commerce, invention. It's an exciting time to be alive on Manifest. But we find ourselves relatively in between those two places on the planet of Manifest, in the settlement known as Waypoint. This settlement is the most influential settlement on the entire planet, rivaling the factory towns in its importance. It's considered the capital of drifters, the birthplace of drifters even. And it is the only settlement that has a stop on the high-speed rail. All other stops on the high-speed rails are within factory towns. So, the town of Manifest is relatively large for a Badlands settlement. Not something you would consider a city by any means. It still has its very true Badlands roots. But I'm going to go ahead and, unfortunately, audience, I don't have a great transition for this. I'm just going to drop it right on us. There is the map of Waypoint for everyone. The high-speed rail runs along the north part of town and then splits in two ways, heading north and south on the edge of town. There are several main thoroughfares, a cul-de-sac of residential areas, and several businesses and establishments and residential housing in the main strips of town. And we start this fine morning with Eloise. Eloise, you have been staying in the Free State Bed and Brew for a handful of years now. So you're as close to a permanent resident as Waypoint tends to get. Most people either pass through town, spend a couple months maybe at most before they go on, and it's the touchstone for every true drifter to pass through Waypoint at least a couple times a year. But very few set routes here. Those that do are usually old, successful drifters or young drifters born here waiting to head out and start an adventure. You are neither of those things, though, Eloise. You came here years back from the big city. You hail from Ion Harbor, and you've spent the last few years in Waypoint, kind of getting to know the local fare, making yourself useful. You are an extremely talented tinkerer, and you've pretty much been able to ride on the money you saved up before coming here, except for it's starting to get a little thin, isn't it? Just a little bit. You still have enough for a couple months of rent, but you got to start looking for some real drifter work if you want to stay here and thrive in the Badlands. And you wake up this morning, describe to me your living space, Eloise. Describe to me your early morning routine. How do you begin the day?
Sure. My space is pretty big, considering that it's a rented room, but I do pay a little bit extra for the extra space. It is also my workshop, which they don't necessarily like, and I didn't necessarily ask for permission when I set it up, but it's my workbench, which has my projects on it that I've got going. Right now I'm working on some prototype armor that I'm real excited about getting it ready. And then of course I've got it's just a single bed. It's just by the window, so I've set it up so I can slide it along in conjunction with the sun. So when it wakes me up as soon as it rises. I had an alarm clock, but I kept on accidentally throwing it across the room. I'm not necessarily like an early riser, but I really try. And then yeah, so I still haven't accumulated lots of things. I have lots of cubes around, but like my stuff in particular isn't that much. Mostly just because I keep on thinking that I'm gonna go somewhere, and then I end up not, and I've just been here for a while, and so. The other thing is that I really like about my room and is necessary for all of my like tinkerings and stuff is that well that there's like running water because in case something catches on fire.
Yeah, you pay the premium rate at the Free State Bed and Brew to have your own personal water supply. All other residents have to use some form of shared water. You get prepared for the day, don your clothing, perhaps some of your armor, and then step out into the hallway of the Free State Bed and Brew to see a little ribbon tied to the external handle of your door, indicating to you that Porter Janice returned either late at night or early this morning.
Okay, that's very good. Yeah, okay. Well, my ribbon's still on that, so yeah, then I'm gonna go back into my room for a second and change my sweater, and then I'm gonna come out. um and then I do have to grab like my Omni tool and stuff, since I won't be back to eat by myself in the afternoon. So then I head out, and I'm a little bit happier
Okay.
than I was earlier.
You enter you go down the stairs from like the residential suites and a hotel of the Free State Bed and Brew, and enter the main body of the establishment. The Free State Bed and Brew is kind of a two-part establishment. It basically, as you enter from the street side, you're forced to walk through what is effectively like a restaurant slash brewery. You walk through with tables to your side, and in the far left side of that room, there's a modestly stocked bar with super tall, like 2-story tall glass windows behind it that view into the back of what is the brewery at the Free State Bed and Brew. There's a little balcony that overhangs about halfway over that building, allowing there to be basically 2 sections of seating that can see the bar and the brewery, and have plenty of windows to view the main thoroughfare through the center of town. You step down into that. It's early-ish morning. There's still a couple people having some breakfast, a couple familiar faces of a few townies, you don't see Porter here, though usually when one of you returns to town in the like morning time, you tend to meet at the bakery for the most part, but he may have gotten back even more recently. Hard to say for sure. You walk down, and Mark Speckman is tending bar this morning, mostly pouring coffee for people. And he goes, "All right, Eloise."
Hi, Mark. You is your day good? I know it's just started, but like
Can't complain. We got it all fixed up back here. We got a coffee and espresso finally up and running. We top dogs today.
That's great. Did that who put that together for you?
Yeah, well, I suppose if I were to guess, it would probably have been one of the De Castros who helped us out with that, but hard to say for sure.
Well, I'm actually headed out this morning. I'd love some espresso, but I'd have to take I'll have to take a rain check. Not wait until it rains, but for later. And then
I'm familiar with the colloquialism.
Right. and then yeah, so then you could do y'all need anything? I could pick it up for you.
No, we got Alberto going out and hitting up the general store for supplies. We're all fine, Eloise. Just same morning.
Morning. Bye.
And so you step out into the main thoroughfare of Waypoint. It is a nice kind of brisk morning. The heat is already beginning to rise. The cool of the desert evening quickly giving way to what seems to be a moderately hot day.
So I will head over to the bakery, because even if Porter isn't there, I can pick up some donuts for Bobby, who really loves them but won't buy them for himself. So.
All right. So you head over to the to the Early Rise Bakery. And you see, as always, Earl Hayes there, plump man in his early 50s, nice growing bald spot on the top of his head, and just big mutton chops. He's got the windows all the way open. It's got like the facade of like the main area of the bakery has like a whole like hatch window that like slides up, and he has the fans in full force today, just wafting out that gorgeous smell from the Early Rise Bakery. And you do see the little basket nearby the entrance that are basically takeaway cookies that he just kind of bakes for anyone who wants them. And he's in there, he's kneading some like dough and getting ready to like, put it in like a drawer below the countertop. And you walk in, he goes, "Ms. Reynolds."
Hi, Mr. Hayes. How are you today?
"I'm doing all right. Eclair."
Please.
All right. And he starts wrapping one up for you and just hands it to you. He doesn't ask for any money. And he goes, "Look at how can I help you?" You look around, it's actually just you and him. No one else is in the shop right now.
I was my friend got back into town, so I was gonna meet him here maybe. So I
Mr.
thought
Janus, I ain't seen him for a bit, so he ain't come by here anytime soon. But might be he got back in early last night. I don't know. I just opened up the place a few hours ago.
Okay. No, that's great. I would love, I'm gonna go see Bobby later, and I would like maybe to bring him some donuts. What have you got today?
I got the full suite. You're the first customer of the day. You get the best pick, fresh. You want an assortment? I'll just give you my favorites.
Okay.
And he gives you a dozen donuts, folds them up into a nice little white box, sets them down, and then folds up one extra donut and sets it on top. And he goes, "For you." Oh, it was a pleasure to see you, Miss Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Now, for the lot, I do believe it's about time for a spur, if you got one. Otherwise, you can take care of me next time you swing through.
No, I've got one. It's just one for all this.
Oh yeah. Dough ain't too expensive. So just for the dozen. I mean the extra and the eclair. That's just a friendly face. So
sure. If you ever need something like do you need something worked on? I could. Do you need any tinkering done? I could help you out.
I couldn't even think to ask. I mean, after you fixed the fan over there, it was rattling something fierce a few weeks back.
I forgot.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. No, it's working. It's working smooth as the day I bought it. So. I mean, if another thing goes kaput, I'll let you know. Honestly, you're going to give the DeCastros a run for your money the way you work, lady.
Oh, I'm not competing with anybody. I just like helping out. Okay. Well, have a really good day. I thank you for all of this. This is a lot.
Oh yeah. Here, and he like helps you kind of like stack it up in your hands. And he goes, "I'll get a door for you." And he
Thank you, Mr.
dings
Hayes.
the door open as it like hits the, and he goes, "You have a fine day, Miss Reynolds."
You too, Mr. Hayes.
Now, with a baker's dozen of donuts and an eclair in arm, you make your way where?
Oh, well, I do have to go see Bobby at some point, and so I guess I'll head over to the LRC tower. He might not be there. It might be a little early for him since he usually likes to work later in the day when it's cooler, but maybe he had some morning work done or something. He after the morning rush to get everybody's news.
Sure. So yeah, Bobby Rockwell is the LRC tower operator. His only employee is Byron Kennedy. And the only other person besides the two of them who has a key to the front office of the LRC tower is you. As Bobby has learned to trust you and has utilized your skills from time to time. You're far from an employee, and you're definitely not sanctioned by Fort Dearborn, but Bobby doesn't really very few people in the Badlands really care about the rules of Fort Dearborn. But as you make your way back to the intersection in the kind of center of town, going down the hill from the bakery, kind of looking around at a slower pace, your head a little bit more about you. You glance down. Now, it's already, even just in that short time, there's a little bit more activity on the street as the town itself begins to kind of wake up. The first train has rolled in, and it's starting to unload, so there's now some travelers moving around, so all the shops are opening up and getting ready for the beginning of another day in Waypoint. As you do, you just kind of glance around through the crowd, and you do notice a distance away from the LRC tower, nearby the DeCastro stables. You see a familiar wagon. You see Porter Janice's wagon. Porter, what does your wagon look like? Oh no, you're muted.
Bastard. Right. It's set up to attach to an automaton horse. So I think that it kind of like stands on its own fairly well. It looks like it's modeled after a Conestoga wagon, but it looks much sturdier than that. So it's got like the big wheels, but they've got tires on them. The fabric on the top is much like tougher. It's almost like a dull gunmetal gray, and it looks very old fashioned. And then across the back panel in nice old fashioned letters, it says "Rambling Retail."
So yeah, you see there the letters right there, facing you, Eloise. Rambling Retail. The automaton horse not attached to the wagon, potentially being brought into the DeCastro stables to be serviced, or simply lost. Hard to say for sure. But you do see the wagon outside the stables.
Also, for the record, my last name is pronounced Janus.
I've been saying Janice this whole time.
You have the entire time.
All right, cool. Everyone in Waypoint.
You're not the only one that does that.
Almost everyone in Waypoint so far doesn't know how to pronounce your last name.
Right, I've been here for 8 months and they still haven't figured it out.
What do you do, Eloise?
I decide that the DeCastros might want some donuts. And I head down to see them. Is Hugo there?
So as you approach the DeCastro stables, you do see a couple DeCastros at work. Basically, the DeCastro stables, like many stables in Manifest, are cater to both people who are traveling on beasts or of burden or mounts, as well as with like advanced vehicles. So it's kind of both a ranch and like it's ranch, parking lot, and workshop, all kind of jumbled into one. And the Castro Stables is very, very well equipped, especially for the Badlands. So as you walk up, you kind of can see the right side where kind of the house is, which has kind of a ranch attached to it. And then on the left, there's a big, large garage with open doors, tons of machinery that can be used to work on various vehicles. The large fields behind the DeCastro stables have plenty of kind of gravel and paved paths where vehicles seem to be kind of like parked on or in little lots. And then around those paths, there's a lush kind of as far as the Badlands goes, at least, lush like farmland with various animals kind of in different pens, large spacious pens seeming to be taken care of. What you see as you approach is the garage is open, and you see both Hugo DeCastro and one of his fathers, Dalton DeCastro, in the garage, and you also see Porter leaning there, his automaton horse looking a little worse for wear. Looks like it's had a hard time on the road. Basically, Hugo is talking to Porter while Dalton is seeming to finish work on one of the vehicles in the garage, but occasionally shouting things over to Hugo. So Dalton's working on the thing, shouting to Hugo. Hugo's talking to you, Porter, saying, "All right, sir. We can go ahead and take this in. Looks like routine maintenance. Just needs a little bit of cleaning under there. Do you need a refueling or anything? You got a fuel cube handy, or?"
Right. I should have. I believe I do. Let me double check. No, but I could drop a spur on a fuel cube. I think she does need a bit of a tuning up.
You're at least smart enough to know that a fuel cube is much more expensive than a spur. So it is a fuel cube is 8 spurs. Premium fuel is going to be 11 spurs.
Tell you what, why don't you go ahead and fuel her up? Maybe I could make a sale or two, but I'm good for the money. I can give you like 5 spurs now and pay you the rest later. Would that be all right, Hugo?
So Hugo, while being only 27 years old, is actually just a hair taller than you, Porter. He's got broad shoulders, a lithe, muscular build, gorgeous skin, short, utilitarian cut, like curly hair, and like dark eyes, as he kind of like regards you for a second, kind of sizing you up, and he glances over his shoulder, and his father, Dalton, also a gorgeous man, like just great, like chiseled jaw. He's got like just the right amount of grease like on him as he's working on the car. He leans over, sees you, and goes, "All right, Porter, Hugo, whatever he needs, he's good for it. He ain't gonna sneak in the dead of night. Not like he could outrun anyone anyways."
Hey, is that a jab at pit stop speed? She's a trusty old wagon,
Yeah, she's very efficient, not so fast.
No, but she gets me where I'm going. That's the important thing.
Well, yeah, if Pa says it's all right, then of course we can give her fuel up, give her a tune up. We'll continue taking care of it. We'll bring the wagon round back, or do you need access to it?
No, it's mostly empty anyway. Go ahead and take it round back. Damn thing's not used to me right now.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Kind of work on them wheels. Looks like maybe they're cracking a bit there. You're all set, sir. Oh, Ms. Reynolds, pleasure to see you. Do you want a hand with that? And he comes over as you're like kind of walking with your large stack of pastries.
Please. I went to the bakery and Mr. Hayes was very generous. Would you like a donut?
Fresh out of Hayes's bakery, of course. Yeah. Thank you. Mighty kind. And he takes a bite of it and like kind of wipes his lip a little bit.
And then Mr. Dalton, would you like one as well?
Oh, Ms. Reynolds, that's real kind. Go ahead and leave me one there on the workshop bench there. Hugo, don't you dare touch that. That's mine.
There, now they're not sliding all over the top. Oh, Porter, I didn't see you there. Imagine that. You're back already. I saw the ribbon, but I didn't think that I would just run into you.
No. I'm sorry. I haven't been over to the bakery yet. I meant to meet you in the first place. I didn't know you'd be up so early.
Well, actually, the sun rises a little bit earlier this time of year, so I get up with the sun.
Right, was the sun short? Well, could I have one of those?
Well, it is tradition.
Cheers. I figured, silly me, I could climb over, find myself a shortcut, but didn't work out too well on the wagon or the old pit stop here.
Oh.
You ought to get better suspension on that thing, sir, if you're going to try any dastardly maneuvers over unpaved terrain, just saying.
That's fair enough. Maybe that's something I could whip up the funds for, if you've got the tools, I mean.
Well, Ms. Reynolds here is quite handy. She might be able to cut you a discount. Hugo, we don't advertise other people's work. No offense, Ms. Reynolds.
Oh no, I don't want to compete with you at all. So I just like helping out. But yeah, he's right. You should the DeCastros here are very good at what they do. I'm just a amateur.
Or I suppose I could just stick to the road like I'm supposed to.
That would also be probably a good course of action.
Advisable, sure. Well, I don't. As pleasant as the DeCastro stable is, I don't know that I want to spend my entire day here. What did you have planned?
Oh well, I thought I would give Bobby some of these donuts, and he won't buy them himself. He's too cheap, but but he loves them, so I thought I would do it for him and bring him on over since you weren't at the bakery, but that's okay. And yeah, so if you wanted to, you could take a turn about the town a little bit. If you're not too tired, I know you got in early.
No. I practically drive half asleep anyway. As
that would explain it. Hugo says as he's like taking some paneling off of your automaton horse to inspect the damage.
Should have said that out of earshot. Let's I'll join you for a walk. Why not?
Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the northern side of town, coming to the end of a very long journey, at least weeks, potentially a month or two. Gus and Dexter, you finally approach Waypoint. You are closing in on the pylons that make that are the track of the high-speed rail. You actually pull up as the train that has arrived, the early morning train, begins leaving for San Cordero, and as you kind of pull up, there's a whoa, whoa, whoa from the pylons on either side of the road as the train begins to pick up speed and roll overhead, shadowing your car. And then before the train is completely past you in its full length, it picks up enough speed that like the last like few cars like are like just like fly past you. And you feel like a little rattling in the car. Gus, what is your car like?
Yeah, so excuse me. Yeah, so it's like it was like used when I bought it. But he takes real good care of it. He got a polished wax sort of thing, and he's scraping the sort of the bottom of the can of it now, but he's put it on there whenever he can, because it's a dusty trip. It's a dusty trip through, getting from the garden to the Badlands, and it's I mean, it's got its share of dings. I wouldn't say any panel is necessary without its blemishes. But yeah, it's a nice car. I mean, it'll get you from one place to the other, and he takes just such good care of it. As best he can.
Got 4 wheels, a steering wheel. What more could you want?
Yeah. Those tires don't like to run flat, so it'll keep getting you where you need to go.
So you roll in, the two of you in Gus's car roll in on the northern thoroughfare of Waypoint. You see some residential buildings on either side of you. A little further down the way to your right, you see the large sheriff's office, kind of like 2.5 story building. It has like a much like thinner, small like third story at the top. Mostly like seems like a large oh no, what's the word that I want? What's the thing that's in the top of a house that you can go into? Yes, attic. Thank you. The only thing in my brain was ceiling, and I'm like, that's not the word, man. And then a little further from the sheriff's office, you see the 3-story building that is the mayoral offices. And then at the end where the road turns right and starts going downhill, you see the Serendipity Jones Memorial Schoolhouse kind of just plopped right there. Nice, clean looking little schoolhouse. And from this vantage point through the houses on your left, you can see a lot of the other town because you're elevated kind of on the highest part of town. This is the hill that overlooks the rest of the settlement. So you can see the other thoroughfare starting to bustle already in this early hour. You see people starting to come out of their houses in the cul-de-sac. And you can also spot from your vantage point as you kind of roll your way down this town, you get like a glimpse of the famed De Castro stables where you can check in your vehicle, assuming you have spurs to pay or can earn the spurs to pay after the fact.
Well, god dang, Dex, this here's town and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I heard stories. It's different to see it. It's really, man.
I don't know. The buildings are tall and everything. I mean, like the sheriff's office has got like stairs in it.
Did your house not have stairs in it?
I mean, we had like, a cellar where we store stuff. I just can't imagine having so much sheriffing to do that you need more than one floor to do it.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in I've never seen a town in the Badlands this big.
Yeah.
I think that's the stables though.
Yeah, and that one's a good garage for me to park this thing in, right? I know I've had my troubles in the past. You've sort of helped me around the bad ones.
Yeah, it would surprise me if the stables here was a scam.
Yeah, Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's a pretty big one. They'd have to be doing pretty good scam business to be sort of keeping that thing moving like it is.
A lot of people would have to be in on it, which doesn't really seem plausible.
Yeah, it sounds right to me. All right. Let's go park and stretch our legs.
So as you drive down the hill towards the stables, you do, even in your car, get just a whiff of some gorgeous smelling like donuts and sweets and bakeries and pastries as you drive by the Early Rise Bakery. He's got the windows open, and even with your windows down in your car, just like, that smelled really good for a second as you continue driving. And the crowd more or less parts, you kind of coast your way down the hill. People kind of stepping out of the way. There's some like boardwalks on either side. But there's a couple of horses and wagons, and like, you're lucky enough to avoid getting stuck behind a hodag in the crossroad there, as you get ahead of it, and you're able to kind of like, as it's lumbering around and some people are trying to like maneuver around this large furry beast, you're able to just kind of cut in front and make your way towards the stables. As you approach the stables, you do see a wagon starting to be pulled back. It says Ramblin' Retail on the back of it. By what appears to be the garage, it's kind of like offshoot, this little annex off of the stables. You see a tall, kind of thin man in what might have been nice clothes once upon a time, but have definitely been worn well beyond their wear, and patched up quite a few times. He's got a couple canisters on a bandolier. Slung over his shoulder is a very nice looking kind of electro mandolin, and he's got a very like fisherman's type cap, and walking beside him is a shorter woman with fiery red hair and a mess of curls, in very nice clothing that looks like it is well maintained and recently purchased. Probably one of the better dressed people you've seen since coming into town. And I don't know, Eloise, are you wearing any parts of your armor?
I think probably.
She has very distinct boots then.
Yeah, I think it's boots is what I was gonna say.
Yeah, there's some panels of like kind of less like soft, like bended metal on like different parts of her clothes. But the thing that really catches your eye is like her like big, okay, cool. Her big, like thick ankled, like high heel, like metallic boots that kind of just like continue the full width of her leg from the knee down. Eloise and Porter, just as you're beginning to decide to leave the stables, this car kind of pulls up. It's a modest looking car, nothing too untoward, but you do see one of the largest men you've ever seen behind the wheel pulling up. Gus and Dexter, I expect you get out of the car.
I think before we do, really quick, Gus is like, "Oh dang, Dex, you see those two? Do you think they're drifters?"
Maybe. I mean, this is the drifter capital of Waypoint.
Yeah.
I guess the odds are pretty good. Anyone here could be a drifter, if you think about it.
Dang, that's cool, Dex. That's a really cool thing.
And the car rocks as Gus steps out of it, and shuts the door, standing up in his full height, broad-shouldered, muscular man in a kind of a scrappy, thick armor and dirty overalls, and then stepping out of the other side of the car, very, very swiftly and kind of controlled in his movement. Dexter steps out in some strange-looking kind of ornate but functional armor, and with two very fine pistols on his hips.
Yeah, I grab all of my possessions out of Gus's car which amounts to a survival kit, a filtration mask, and night vision goggles. That's the end of the list. Just sling them over my shoulder in a pack.
I'll elbow Eloise and I'll say, looks like we've got a couple of new drifters in town.
Yeah, the guy's real big.
Big fella, ain't he? Right?
Yeah. Oh man, it's always fun to see new drifters come into town, because then they might get into something exciting, or they might be in the middle of something exciting, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm in Waypoint," and I'm like, "Oh, welcome to Waypoint," and then maybe one day we'll go together, and then I don't go, but I think about it, and it would be real cool.
Anything could happen in Waypoint, yeah. It'd be real cool.
So, yeah, but yeah, I just that guy's so big.
Long as he doesn't punch me, I mean, I think that's the eventual
Do you know him?
goal. Nope. Oh no, but
Why would someone punch you?
as you just said, anything could happen in Waypoint.
I mean, sure, but never mind. That's so. I just whatever. Did you? Let's be okay.
Howdy, sir. Welcome to DeCastro Stables. I'm Hugo DeCastro. Looking to have us take care of your vehicle for a time.
Yeah, hi there, Hugo. I'm Gus Gurley. Nice to meet you. And shake his hand.
He shakes your hand and kind of regards Dex and goes, "Sir."
I nod back at him.
Oh, maybe he doesn't. I'm Gus, anyways. Yeah. I'd love to park. I guess. We sort of made it where we're going for now. How much is it to park?
Well, for a vehicle that size, unless you need any extra maintenance on it or anything like that, looks like it could use a little bit of a tune-up. But it's gonna be 2 spurs a week or 6 for the month, depending on how long you want to stay in town.
Yeah, if I say a week and then I do half a week, do I get a spur back, or do I get like 3 days free next time or something?
Well, I mean, if you pay for a week and you leave town for a short spell and come back, we ain't gonna push on it. We'll remember your face, sir. Hard to forget a fella big as you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh God, you're so nice. People here are nice. This is great.
Can't stress enough. He's extremely handsome too.
You're a handsome fellow yourself. Hey, Dex, come on, quit being such a standoffish. Come on, say hi.
Hi, I'm Dexter.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir. Mr. Gurley, yeah, if you got the spurs, we can go ahead and take that back there, give it a little bit of a clean. If you need anything else done, any work done on it, I gotta tell you, my Paul Dalton, he can whip up just about anything you can think of. If there's room for us to jam it in there, we can jam it in there. So you need extra oomph in your engine, some better fuel efficiency, you come to the right place. We got quite the workshop here to work with. So but if you're just looking to check in for the time being, I can go ahead and take it around back, park it in the back, and we'll get to detailing it before you come back around and take it. And then Dalton finally.
Here's a couple.
Oh, go ahead.
Here's a couple spurs for you. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, nothing for it right now. I mean, I guess take a look. I don't know. I try to take good care of it, but I just got it, and y'all are the experts. So if there's something feels like could be crammed in there or should be crammed in there, I'm happy to let you do the cramming.
Hugo takes the spurs and the keys, and then Dalton finishes working on the vehicle, and he steps out and starts kind of wiping his hands and forearms with a rag to kind of get some of the oil and grease off. And he comes up to you and he goes, don't mind his hard sell. He's just enthusiastic. I'm Dalton DeCastro. Mr. Gurley, was it?
Yeah, Gus. Nice to meet you.
A pleasure to meet you, sir. Yeah, I mean, if you need any work done on that thing, just say the word. I mean, it ain't free. But you look like folk who know how to make a spur or two in a town like this. So, you just let me know, sir. New to town, right? I don't recognize either of your faces.
Yeah, we just got here for the first time.
Right, for the
Never
first
been.
time.
Wow, it's a big town.
I've been here for about well, the stables has been here for gosh, says a long time, but it's been at the Castro stables for about 25 years now. Almost 30, I guess.
Wow.
But if you need anything at all, you let us know. We can give you some suggestions, though. If you really want to know, right across the street there is the Point the Way pub. It's a restaurant and butcher shop. Delicious meats. The seasoning on it's great. I gotta tell you, it's hard to just sit here and just every once in a while get a whiff of it. But Point the Way pub, Sear Chapin. If you need to know anything about Waypoint, she can give you anything you need. She can point the way. Hence the name of the pub, I guess.
Oh, that's very fun. Yeah, no, as we were sort of coming through towns, there's a lot of sort of nice smells I've been going back to explore.
You passed the bakery.
That's what that. Oh my goodness gracious! I must have.
Yeah. Earl Hayes knows his business well. He makes sure to start every morning with the windows wide open, the fans just blowing it out. He makes a good donut, a good bakery. Hell, you should have been here about a few minutes ago. Ms. Reynolds was just here handing out freebies. She had fresh donuts for everyone. But also, if you're wanting a sample, he does put some cookies out front, free to take for anyone who wants them. So feel free to swing back up that hill and grab a takeaway cookie. Gotta warn you though, once you have one, you're gonna get hooked, and that's how Hayes gets you. You think people come back through Waypoint, for work, but I think it's for the donuts.
Oh well, don't you tempt me with a good time, Dex. What a nice town this is. We're gonna have to go and have a walk around. Thank you both so much. Yeah, I'll let you know when I need the car, and yeah, you two have a wonderful day.
You too, sir. You too. Here you go. Bring it around back. Put it in lot C. And where the hell is your brother? I think he's working with the sheriff today, sir. Oh, that figures. Your father's gotta get that boy to sort out his priorities. I mean, playing lawman is one thing, but when you got chores to do, you do them. Don't have to tell me, Pa. I know you go. I know. Go on. Have a nice day, you two. Where
I think we.
Yeah, where do you two head?
Sort
You
of like
have
we
you
turn
have
around and we start.
all of Waypoint at your disposal.
Gosh, Dex, what sounds good to you?
Well, the last spur in my pocket says free cookie. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, both of my last two spurs also are saying free cookie.
We had our-
I think I might. Just because I think I might use one of these spurs. I'm wondering if there might be a new chapter of A Light in the Darkness, over at the LRC tower. I don't know when the serials come out, but I gotta know what happened in that vampire cave.
Been on the road for long enough. Surely there's a new chapter. There's gotta be. There's gotta be
a new chapter. I don't know. Dex, can I be honest with you? I don't think Rico's gonna make it out. I don't think he's gonna make it out of that vampire cave.
For a man of faith, Gus, sometimes you don't have very much in him.
I don't know. There's only so many scrapes a man can get into, and you can be as centered as you want, and you can be walking the path of Alana, but just in the middle of a bunch of vampires, and there's nothing that can really help to that situation.
Yeah, you guys have been going for about a week and a half since you've hit up an LRC tower to see if the next chapter of your serialized novel, what is it called, Light in the Darkness, that you two got hooked on the road. It's been a while. Surely there's another one, but you'd have to check. You have to check the LRC to see.
You know,
free cookie first. A nice reward for getting here.
Free cookie, then LRC. You know, Gus, when your life's on the line, there's not a lot a man can't do.
Eloise and Porter, where are the two of you head
to? Well, I mean, like, other than just like generally walking, I do actually have to, well, not have to, but want to go to see Bobby at the LRC tower, because these donuts, I don't want to carry these donuts all day, even though it does make people like to talk to me a little bit more, which is nice. But like, Porter's here now, so like I don't have to talk to anybody else, because he gets it, and most people are sort of like sort of like Mark, where they're like real nice, but also like I trip over it a little bit, and then they're like, Eloise, and then I'm like so I should go to see Bobby. Yeah.
All right. So the two of you are walking towards the LRC tower.
Yep.
All right. You go down the main thoroughfare, the middle thoroughfare of Waypoint. At the end of it is a kind of like small town square with the rail station and the LRC tower. But between you and there, on your left, there's the Free State Bed and Brew, where both of you are residents, neighbors, in fact. And then on the right side, you pass by O'Donovan First Aid and Clinic, and Rose Blacksmithing. You pass by the general store, the church, the bank, and even both the Turnpike Inn and the Golden Spike Saloon. The Golden Spike already starting to get a little rowdy, as presumably some of the people who have gotten off the train went straight there, and their day has begun, and you can hear the piano going and hooping and hollering as people are starting to get their drink on for the day. But the LRC tower is easily accessible. As you walk up. It's one of the better LRC towers around the Badlands. It has 6 public access terminals, 4 that flank the kind of front window where the operator can like assist people, and then 2 more private ones around the corner on the large tower. And as you approach, you do see that the shutters have gone up, and Bobby Rockwell, kind of sleepy in his eyes, starts laying out basically the newspaper that he prints, the local newspaper, as he collects news from the LRC traffic, both regional and global, and kind of distills that down into a newspaper. You know that, like, kind of writing the newspaper, he likes getting a little he likes the act of writing it and stuff like that. That's why he works at the LRC tower, to have that kind of position. And as you walk up, he rubs his eyes, he looks at you. He's got kind of dirty reddish brown hair that's kind of pulled back into a ponytail. He's in his mid 40s, a wispy mustache. He's wearing his normal uniform, kind of a coat and jumper, kind of like half mechanics, half like post person. And he looks to you, and you also see Byron is there today as well. Not super often that the two of them are both there at the same time, but you see Byron is wheeling a cart with a bunch of large crates into the back of the LRC tower. He sees you approaching, Eloise, gives you a nod, and then Bobby sees you and goes, "Eloise, how's it going?"
Hi, Bobby. Good. I went to the bakery earlier, and I just was given
Hmm.
too many donuts, and so I thought, who better to give them to than you? So I walked all the way across town to bring you little sweets.
And Mr. Janus, pleasure to see you again. Welcome back to town.
How's your Bobby? Good to see you.
Um, well, let me take a look there. I'll pick what my favorites are. Earl always knows what the best are. Did you tell him you were coming?
Yes, sir, I did.
Well then, yes, the man never fails. And he grabs like one with sprinkles. And takes a bite of it and is like, and then like reaches under his desk and like pulls out a little like cup of coffee and like sips it, and he goes, marvelous way to start the morning. Thank you so much, Eloise. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I was surprised to see Byron here.
Yeah, well, we got a shipment in fact, and so it required all hands on deck to get both the paper out and the shipment brought in on the early morning train. It's a little late, unfortunately, so it will be sitting here for some time. But
Oh no, what's did something happen? Is something wrong?
well, I mean, it's repair parts for an LRC tower. There's the town of Las Viudas down in the south west is unfortunately without an LRC tower. It has been for almost a week now, and the city was supposed to send over these supplies a few days past, so it would arrive with enough time for the Dune Skippers, which you know to be one of the many local nomad packs that swing through with Waypoint, for the Dune Skippers to come through, but they left last night. And the shipment arrived today, so it's gonna be another 5 days before they come through town, and then, well, they drive fast, but it will still take them at least 2 days to deliver it, so it's another week where that town's gonna be without LRC, and you know it's a bureaucracy. You know, it slows the wheels of progress and makes the little ones suffer when it can, but there's not much we can do about it. We'll sit here for a little while longer. Dune Skippers will come back through town, and eventually Las Viudas will get what they require. But I wish it would have come yesterday. Would have been able to sleep in this morning.
Well, I'm real sorry to hear that.
Barely, I mean, if
Porter has a wagon. If
I'm sure it'll be fixed before a week and a half from now. So it's just not quite operational now, and I can tell you, old Pit Stop won't be getting there very quickly. Certainly not as fast as the Dune Skippers would.
I've seen your wagon, sir, and well, it I mean, even in a vehicle such as that, you'd get to you get to Las Viudas in 3 to 4 days time, so it's still get there sooner. But I wouldn't ask that of the two of you. Part of what's the reason I'm relying on the Dune Skippers and willing to pay through the nose for them is there's been an increase of bandit activity around that area, and I cannot help but imagine it has something to do with the fact that people know that Las Viudas is expecting a shipment of LRC parts. Quite heavily regulated, these things. Can't be trusted with just anyone. And I'd hate to put either of you in any danger. No, certainly not, no.
Well,
okay. What do you?
I suppose
Do you?
if you,
So, Mister.
I suppose, could we? Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think.
I think we're thinking
yeah.
the same thing.
It's far too early in the morning for me to guess. How about you just tell me?
Sure. Well, if you've got some money that you were going to put towards it anyway, you could put a little less towards it, and we could maybe hire some drifters. And I know how to work anything if it gets broken. And not that it would, but if it did, then I could fix it. And so then like we could Porter has a wagon, and he's it's very reliable, and I can
How
fix it
much
if it
would you
isn't.
pay us
And
to
then
transfer these parts?
right, that one.
All right, first roll of the campaign. Let's go ahead and have you to teamwork a manipulate check on Bobby Rockwell of Waypoint
Okay.
of the Waypoint LRC Tower.
Do I get any
Bobby
pluses
knows
because he
me,
likes
so it's
me?
not a first impression, right?
It's not a first impression for you, Porter. I will give Eloise is gonna actually be the primary on this.
Oh no. All right.
But Eloise, you're gonna get a +2 because Billy is he's pretty friendly with you. I mean, he trusts you enough to give you access to half of the LRC Tower's supplies, and you've helped him a couple times, like just to like fix like busted terminals and realign some of the sensors. Like he knows that you know your stuff, and he also knows that you're trustworthy. So
Okay.
well,
So
I only got a 7.
as a teamwork test, I'm giving you a bonus,
Bonuses.
right?
Yeah.
So you get a +3 to your
Oh.
test.
So
That's-
total of +5.
Brings it to 15. So that's pretty good. So that is 3 hits, actually. I've got an 11 high.
Over how many over a 7?
I have an 11, a 10, and an 8.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. So he sits there for a second, takes another bite of the donut, sips his coffee, and then like looks down at the donut, like contemplating it for a second. And then he goes, well, I must say, Eloise, if there's someone in this city I believe I could trust with these supplies, barring the marshal or the sheriff or one of the marshals that come through here, I suppose it would be you, except for still the question comes to how you would defend yourself out there. I know you are quite handy, and Mr. Porter, I know you are a man of many talents, but never known you as one to take on bandits. What I was going to be paying the Nomad Pack was 28 spurs. It's 6 large crates, need transit, and it was going to be 28 spurs total. If you can find some drifters who are a little more seasoned in the ways of combat to protect you along the way, I suppose everyone could make it out of here a little bit for the better. Both the two of you, myself, and the people of Las Vayudas.
Well, I'm sure that we could find somebody, or maybe even 2 people, or maybe 3, but I don't think, because it's not
I mean-
28 is not divisible by. We would have to have 5 people, or we would have to have two people or 4 people. We couldn't have anyway. So.
Well, it will take a day before I have the supplies all ready. I need to check them, make sure they didn't get damaged on the transit from Fort Dearborn, and get them all prepared, inventory them, and also take care of all the paperwork, check it in. There's a lot. This is. I can't stress this enough, Ms. Reynolds. This is highly regulated materials. So if anything were to happen to them, I wouldn't be the only one in trouble. Anyone involved would be in trouble with the militia. So, but I know that you don't plan to do anything untoward with them, but the road is harsh, so take good care of them. But either way, what I am saying is you have a day to get find some drifters. Shouldn't be too hard. I hear the Golden Spike is already roaring over there. Surely there's a couple stalwart fighters there. Whatever it is you can put together, if you feel comfortable with it, I believe I will feel comfortable with it as well. You have a good head on you, Eloise, and I don't imagine you would jump in with both feet unless you were sure it was going to work out. Now, if you'll excuse me, it looks like I have some customers. Hello, new faces. And you turn around and you see that very large man again, and his companion in the kind of ornate armor, walking up, finishing their takeaway cookies from the from the Early Rise Bakery.
Oh, he's
I
even
didn't-
bigger in person.
I didn't believe him when he said people come back for the cookie, but maybe.
Man, I'm gonna have to get another cookie. Or like, did you see the other stuff he had in there? He had like there was something with like bread and chocolate in it.
Hi.
Hello, lads. How are you?
Are you talking about Mr. the Early Rise?
Yeah, we just stopped
Yeah,
by.
we just
So
for
had
Mr.
the-
Hayes is
cookie.
like very generous, and I bought some donuts earlier today, and then I kind of gave them out to everybody. But I still have some. If you were interested in having one of these donuts that I was
Take a
given
pastry, lads.
earlier.
Come on. Let her stop talking.
Dex, I told you this is such a nice town.
Are
I would
you all
love one.
are you,
Yes,
you all are
thank
new?
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm Gus.
Dexter.
We just rolled in.
Um,
First time. Apparently, that's something you got to tell people because people are in and out of the town. But no, first time here. It's so big.
yes. Well, for a Badlands town, for sure. So are you drifters? Are you drifters?
Oh,
More
I
or less.
guess I am.
Cause like you're awful big. So I just thought like, oh man, that guy looks like a drifter. And then you got some guns on you, and I noticed them, and they look mighty fun. So you look like drifters, and you're new. And I was like, oh well, I'm not competing with the DeCastros or Loretta Rose or anything, but like if you needed some like minor tinkerings, I would be happy to do that.
This is the very talented Eloise Reynolds.
I'm Eloise. Yeah.
She's pleased to make your acquaintance, lad. I'm Porter Janus. You said your name is Dexter, and how about you, big feller?
Oh, I'm Gus. It's nice to meet you, Eloise and Porter. It's great
Gus,
to meet
very
you
nice
too.
to meet you. I'll shake his hand. It's probably a very brusque handshake, I would assume.
It's a very large hand. Yes. It's a very large hand, and the other hand already has a donut.
Now, couldn't help but notice you were munching on the free cookies, but you didn't buy anything from the bakery. So, would I be, not to get into your personal affairs, correct in assuming the two of you might need a couple of coins?
Yeah.
Funds are
Yeah.
low.
Yeah, I
That's
was sort of doing a little bit of math in my head on the way over here because I got 2 spurs, and I really want to know what happens next in A Light in the Darkness, but I don't know what the cost is for like a room or like food. It's probably, I probably can't get very far with 1 spur, so I don't know. Yeah, money's low.
Well, I mean, having to keep the old wheels at the DeCastro stable, that'll set you back in the first place. So that's at least one of your spurs gone there.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Nope.
Half.
Right. I don't. Well, then in any case, it seems like you could certainly use a job, and if you're new, I would assume you're new to the drifting game, aren't you?
Yeah. I mostly been in the farming game. I was in the farming game for a long
Sure.
time, and then in the driving over here game for
Right.
past few weeks, and then
Right.
now I guess I need a new game. I was gonna travel. I was gonna sort of see around, but I don't really have a lot of money right now.
Have you ever been to Las Vegas? Viudas?
No, I haven't.
Viudas, yeah,
Los-
Viudas.
Viudas. Have you ever been to Las Viudas?
I haven't. Is it pretty? It sounds pretty.
Oh, gorgeous! Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Actually, we're planning on taking a trip right over there, and well, we could use a big fellow with a couple of big guns, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. Oh, a
Jeez,
job
okay,
and
I
money
didn't
and
do
a
that on
trip.
purpose.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that
don't
sounds
know.
excellent.
I probably shouldn't go with the very first people that we see, but I'd rather go with somebody who's new and seems nice than some old bastard drifter. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so the thing that I was thinking is that
Mhm.
Bobby said that we should go check the saloon, but then they would be drunk. So
Right.
then I thought that was probably bad, because you know you need your reactions and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
like these
It's
folks have
important.
just like they've like um they just got in, so they haven't drank yet, I think. And so so then we we could hire them and then give them a room for the night out of the funds, and then like we could go in the morning when your wagon was done, because like I can't, it seems, I just keep thinking about the people in Las Vegas and how
Right.
like they haven't like, can you, I just I mean like I don't have an LRC, but like I can imagine since everybody checks LRC that they like, you know, um
They need that, yes.
right. And like I know I'm like weird. They're like, "Oh, you're so like nobody's reading your LRCs." And I'm like, "Right, because I don't have one." And then they're like um
Explains
and
why you never answer to mine. I'm just joking.
okay. So anyway, so my thought is like they actually seem pretty good, you know? And like
Good.
and so
So,
like if you
fellas, what do you say?
Yeah.
Sorry, what is the actual job?
All
Oh,
right.
yeah. No, right. That.
Oh,
We're going.
we have cargo.
No, I think I can handle this
Okay.
one, love.
Yep. No, you're fine. It'd probably just take a real long time if I said it. So
Exactly. So
yeah.
we're taking some crates to Los Valludas, because the Nomad pack's already run out of town. So we'll give you a cut if you'd like to travel with us for a little bit.
What's in the crates?
Just LRC parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dex, does this sound fine?
Um, that's not an out loud. That's Dan thinking. Can I? This whole show in front seems very suspicious.
That's fair.
Can I get a read on what the situation is here?
Yeah, absolutely. You can roll discipline, and if Porter, not necessarily if you're trying, and Eloise, you know, if either of you is trying to like, not necessarily. Obviously, we know that you're not lying about the parameters of the job, but Dexter's trying to get like a read on you as like people. And so, if you
great.
want to be a little more guarded, and you could roll manipulate to resist. But if you're just like being an open book in this moment, not thinking about like watching how you behave or speak, then you can choose not to resist at all. It's up to you. But either way, Dexter, you roll discipline.
I never think about what I'm speaking. So
I think
though I am trying to be confident, you know, like I've done this before, but like I'm not resistant. You can tell that you can tell.
I think that Porter's trying to present himself as 100% entirely trustworthy, and I don't know this person well enough to know if I am trustworthy to them. So I am going to resist using first impression, which gives me +1 to all social tests
Yeah.
when first meeting someone.
Yep.
I did not roll super great. Real terrible though. Now I just have to hope for Seth's dice to come through for me.
It's a high of 5, so you probably did.
Porter, you're so good at talking to people.
I can't understand it. I rolled a 20, a 19, and 5. And
Seth,
then
how do you keep doing this?
my re-roll was a 1, so
Jeez. All right, high of
Wait,
5.
Did you say 20, 19, and 5?
20, 19, 5, yes.
I think that's a misfire.
And a 1.
And a what? Wait,
my
was the one
Oh,
on a you roll 4 dice or 3 dice to?
3 dice, but I thought, oh, because it's
Yeah.
half rounded down,
Yeah.
so great. I should have just let him.
Well, isn't it a? He
I have-
fails though, right?
I have 2 net hits. I have a 6 and an 8.
So it's a grave
Right.
misfire.
So it's a grave misfire.
Awesome. Perfect. All right.
Yeah. Starting out, right?
So Dexter, how many net successes?
2.
Cool. We're gonna play it. Since it's a grave misfire, we're gonna play it as 5. So what happens here in this exchange? You see, you saw Porter when he was talking to Eloise. You by just the virtue of your training, you are constantly like always kind of scanning your horizon, scanning your surroundings, and like just kind of trying to get a read on everyone around you, just to see if there's any moment where there's a threat. For instance, you're pretty sure based on what you can hear in the Golden Spike Saloon across the way, you're pretty sure a fight's about to break out, to the point where when inevitably in this Badlands town, when a gunshot rings out, you know that it's probably nothing. It's coin flip between posturing and injuring, but you know that you're not in danger and it's not your problem. So like, as Porter is speaking to Gus and then like addressing Eloise, and like the way they were talking with the LRC operator before the two of you approached, you get just from the get-go, like, Porter is a smooth operator. He is definitely not someone who is like unacquainted with the truth. But he is someone who at least has the skill set necessary to obfuscate or bend the truth to whatever fits the moment he's in. You know that in this particular instance, they're being upfront. You can tell that Eloise is also new to this, as new as Gus is, basically. Actually less new than Gus, really. Eloise carries herself with like kind of an excitement and naivete, but also with an understanding, like, you know, that like she like marked how good your guns were and like how good your equipment was, and like she didn't just pick you guys because you were the first 2 people she saw. She was able to at least kind of identify, based on, if nothing else, like the stuff you have on you and the way you carry yourself, that like you were good, like good candidates for this job.
Mm-hmm.
Porter is I'll let Seth tell you like exactly what, if anything, Porter is attempting to obfuscate here. He's got an extremely good read on you, Porter, but there is one other thing, you know, Dex, like this guy has definitely done plenty of crime in the past, or some crime in the past, and he definitely like carries himself and speaks with like that kind of confidence and like a surety of someone who is maybe not a criminal by trade, but definitely someone who is like connected in the underworld at the very least, and knows and is willing to do a crime for whatever reasons. You don't know whether or not he's like inherently a bad person or anything. You know that some people are put in those positions because of various circumstances. But like you at least know for sure that Porter is a smooth talker, not quite a grifter, but like has those kind of qualities. And then Porter, if there's anything else you think he might get on this, like if you're planning on like shorting them on the money or something like that, stuff that I wouldn't know, right? In this particular exchange.
That was my plan. Yeah. Planning on giving them each 5 spurs and us keeping 7. So
Cool. Yeah. So Dex, you know that he's gonna like if you want like an even cut on this job, it's hard to say fair cut, finder's fee, etc. There could be points of view that like make that.
I think my takeaway is the person to negotiate with is Eloise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so Gus asks, this seems okay, right, Dex? And I read all of that off Porter, and I try and think like what my master back at the peak, Isabel, would say, and I come back with something along the lines of like, that's sort of the point, Dexter. That's why you're out here, to see the world and interact with it on your own. Yeah, seems fine.
And then like 3 seconds later, 2 gunshots ring off in the Golden Spike Saloon, and a tussle spills out onto the patio and down the stairs.
I don't flinch.
Yeah.
Of the places to stay in Waypoint, there's the saloon is one of them, right?
Yeah, there's plenty of places to stay. There's like more
okay.
long-term housing, like kind of like like actual like apartment buildings basically. But as far as like temporary lodging, there is of course the Free State Bed and Brew where the two of you stay. They do temporary and long-term housing. And then the Golden Spike Saloon is much more often like short-term housing, with a few exceptions. There's also right nearby the LRC tower is the Turnpike Inn, which is a brothel and inn that has plenty of rooms. And those are the 3 main places for temporary lodging. There's a couple other apartment buildings scattered throughout the town. And you probably like you might know that like occasionally like one of the other businesses has like an apartment upstairs or nearby that they like rent out on like case by case basis, like pay by the week, pay by the month, that kind of thing. Like that Saoirse Payne occasionally like lets like people crash in like a back room, so like there's stuff like that as well. But as far as like conventional like temporary lodgings, you're looking at the Golden Spike Saloon, the Turnpike Inn, or the Free State Bed and Brew.
Well, lads, the saloon tends to be getting a little bit crowded once the high-speed rail comes into town. So if you like, we could take you back to the Bed and Brew, have a proper breakfast rather than just pastries. Toast to a deal well done.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds great.
We should check before we leave, right?
Right. Yeah. Hey,
I couldn't
got
help
the
but
new
over here.
Light in the Darkness.
I couldn't help but over
The
here.
latest we got was the Vampire Den. Is there only one? Is there?
Well, there's a new one. It came out not too long ago. Slot, go ahead. Step up to one of the terminals, slot in your LLC. We'll see if your subscription needs reactivation.
Yeah. He goes over and he
Cool.
pops in his LRC.
So yeah, you approach one of the terminals nearby the window, and you pull out your LRC. Dust it off a little bit. It's a little like slim like electronic key, and you slot it into the terminal, and the screen kind of lights up. And as it does, kind of not like leaning in a way to look at your screen, but kind of leaning there, finishing his donut. Bobby Rockwell goes, Bobby Rockwell, pleasure to make your acquaintance. Do you know your letters, sir?
Yeah, I can read.
Excellent. All right. Well then, let's go ahead, and I see you've slotted in, and he pulls up like a little like small like window, little like glass window that's like kind of distorted on the backside, so you can't see like the like lights that are shining up at him. And he presses a couple buttons, and he goes, "You're in luck. Your subscription doesn't end for another week, and the newest issue just came out. Would you like me to print that, or?"
Yeah, yes, please.
All right, just a
Thank you
moment.
so much. I'm Gus, by the way. I'm so sorry. It's so rude of me.
Oh, please. You and your friends just had a conversation standing 5 feet away from my station for quite some time. I'm very used to the LRC tower is a place for people to come together and commune. Well, I am but a mere servant. Now, and he presses a couple more buttons, and you hear like chink, as some machinery kicks on, and it starts printing out the pages of the next issue of God, I'm gonna remember the name of this at one point. Lightness in the dark, light.
A light in the
A light in the
darkness.
darkness.
A light in the darkness. I put the nest on the wrong one. Light in the darkness. To as those pages slide out, you just know that they tell you whether or not occult detective. I've forgotten his last name.
His name is
Rico
it's
Kazak, Tommy.
I can't. I'm not.
Kazak.
I'm not able to look it up because my Discord is the one that is the stream. So I don't get. And it's only in the messages that you guys sent me, so I don't get to like. I need to put them in my notes.
His name is Rico Kazak. His wife's name is Rachel. His wife's evil twin's name is Veronica.
Cool. Yeah. After being betrayed by Veronica, of course, Rico has found himself in a den of vampires, and every page that comes out, any one of those could carry the final moments of Rico's life.
Bobby trying not to focus, Gus trying not to focus on it, says, well, Bobby, I'm so sorry, but hey, you tap me on the shoulder next time, we'll include you in the conversation. That's not fair of us to sort of to be talking next to you. We should be talking with you.
Oh no, it's fine. In a roundabout way, you're going to be working for me, it seems, in a day. So
oh yeah, these your parts?
Yes, of course. Eloise Reynolds is the one I am charging with the safety of these parts. The two of you seem like fine gentlemen, clearly skilled and unafraid of the road. I did tell Mr. Janus and Ms. Eloise that there has been some recent bandit activity. Some road agents working around those parts, and if I were to venture a guess, I would suspect that they are looking for whatever souls may have the cargo you are going to be transporting. The shipment's been delayed enough. I can only imagine that word has gotten around.
Yeah, don't worry. We have encountered bandits before, and Gus sort of shoots a look at Dex. Sort of a disapproving look.
We can
handle ourselves. Yeah.
I don't doubt it. He looks you up and down, Dexter. The character art that we have for Dexter indicates a buckle that Dexter has not yet earned. Dexter's large buckle in his armor is currently blank. He kind of like sizes you up a little bit, Dexter. You see his eyes linger on your buckle and like kind of soak in your armoring style. And without a roll, you think that it's possible that Bobby Rockwell has identified you as a gunslinger novitiate. And then he folds over a cover and binds the pages together, and he goes, there you go, one issue of A Light in the Darkness, blood undone.
Ooh, sounds like a good one, Dex. Yeah, let's go have some breakfast, let's go read up, let's go meet our new friends.
Yeah, we had. I actually don't know if Porter and Eloise waited for us.
I think while that was happening, I checked my own LRC messages in one of the private terminals.
Sure. So you went around the corner, slotted in. No new messages from the last time well, I guess when was the last time you checked? Because you've been out on the road for a little while.
Right, so it's been
guess
at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have a message from you basically get a message every week that's just an update from your friend in Markham's Landing, whose name I also didn't drop in my notes and I can't look at because
Run.
it's in a Discord message you sent me.
It's Rund Nathans. Rund Nathans.
Rund, R-U-N-D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a message from Rund. Basically just a check-in. You guys are basically pen pals at this point. Just kind of he's touching base. She's touching base. And she doesn't really mention anything specific, but just kind of like gives you general like everything's the same here, everything's doing everything and everyone are doing fine. Cool. You know, you gotta up your game if you want to actually make it as a peddler. You know, maybe spend just a little bit more time on production and a little less time bloviating.
It's good advice. It's good advice. I'll just send her back a general update about the wagon and how, yeah, that's you know, talking is half the fun of peddling in the first place, as she should well know. And yeah, I'll meet up with the friends and take them back to the Free State Bed and Brew.
Cool. Yeah, so you type out a quick message, send it, detach your LRC tag, the terminal shuts down, and you step back around as Gus grabs his freshly printed edition of Light in the Darkness, and the four of you start making your way towards the Bed and Brew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So you four get there. As you're leaving, you do see so there is a dead body being picked up by what looks like one of the deputies in the square outside of the saloon, and you see what must be the sheriff standing there. He's got like kind of like a like light brown or dirty blondish type hair that is clean cut, not like overly styled. He wears a long tan like coat, and he is speaking with a couple gentlemen, seeming it looks like standard fare. He's not like arresting anyone or anything. It seems like it was a fair fight. And he's like talking to them and like kind of like pokes someone in the chest, and that person like kind of pulls back. And then you see another man step out of the saloon. This man carries himself with confidence that can only indicate that he is the owner of this saloon, as he treats the porch like it's his living room. He walks out in like a dirty kind of gray pinstripe suit that, you know, looks like it's recently been laundered but has been worn for far too long. And he is a hard man to place as far as age goes. He could be like 50 or he could be 70. He's got hard lines in his face, but carries himself with an energy and confidence of like a younger man. He's got pitch black hair that is well styled and pushed out of his face, with kind of like curls in it. He's got nicely polished shoes, and he leans on the porch, and you can almost hear him a little bit as he kind of with a few profanities addresses the sheriff in what seems to be like a friendly manner. And the sheriff like kind of nods and like grins and says a couple things back. And then at this point, you do notice, Dex, the sheriff's eyes lock onto you as you're walking, and his eyes like slide down to your guns, to your belt and your armor as he's having a conversation with this guy. And just the act of seeing you seems to have disarmed him for this social encounter he finds himself in. He, instead of continuing to put pressure on the guy that did the shooting, he kind of like waves his hand and like shouts something to the saloon keep, and the saloon keep puts his hands up, and you can kind of hear from your distance, because you're kind of getting closer as you exit the square. He goes, "You know me, Sheriff, I'm squeaky fucking clean." And the sheriff parts to go up towards the train station, giving you just one more glance, Dexter, as he does. And you notice as he's walking, he has extremely fine pistols on his hip, better than yours. He has finely crafted like hard caliber pistols, one on each hip. At a glance, they don't seem as ancient as the pistols you hope to one day earn in your gunslinger guild, but they are crafted with the same amount of expertise, even if they look more modern and fresh.
Yeah, upon seeing what is easily identifiable as the sheriff, I would definitely, I do the same to him as he does to me, because the tale from the kinder gunslingers at the peak is that the sheriff of Waypoint is a freelancer, and the less kind ones say meaner things.
That he's not even a real gunslinger at all. Yeah. So go ahead and roll a discipline check, as the two of you kind of size each other up from across the square.
Not great. I have a 6.
Okay. So yeah, with I got, yeah, I'll keep my 2 successes. So he has 2 7s over a 6.
Okay.
And so the two of you kind of size each other up. You're not able to get a good read on him. He really quickly seems to go right back to going about his business. Like, that exchange that you two had was a matter of maybe a couple seconds. If it was in a movie, it would have like gone into slow motion, right? And like the audio would have like dropped out. But really, it's just like, even from like that far distance, the two of you like quickly like picked up each other's like gear and what you were using and how you were carrying yourself. And he, if you were to venture a guess, you at least think that he might not be threatened by you. But you can't really get much more than that, as he just casually walks away and heads up the stairs towards the train station.
Interesting.
I think sort of as we pass by, Gus, totally oblivious to everything that's going on here, just sort of nudges Dex and like sort of nods at the body lying there. He goes, "Well, Dex, did you come by here earlier?"
Thanks.
No, I don't know. I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for shooting you that look earlier, but you know, he said bandits, and I don't know. It made me think like, I don't know. Maybe we could try not to kill all of them, or like any of them if possible. I don't know. Just like we got a second shot at it, you know.
Gus, I respect you, but if the situation demands it, I'm going to draw on them.
Yeah, no, I know you're gonna draw on them, but like they got legs. Like I don't punch them in the face every time. Like sometimes a knee does it.
Dex, I don't point my gun at anyone I don't intend to kill.
Yeah, I know. All right, Dex, that's fine.
And the
All
four
right,
of
let's go
you
get some breakfast.
open up the doors to the Free State Bed and Brew. Same thing as described before. Restaurant is kind of to your left, a spacious area with tables and chairs, a little like stairway leading up to the balcony that sits over. 2-story tall window showing the immaculate brewing equipment behind the bar. And Eloise and Porter walk in, and as the four of you set in to spend your day getting to know each other and eating and probably drinking, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, y'all gonna shoot the shit.
Mhm.
All right, we'll be right back. I got exactly 10 o'clock on my clock.
Wow.
And we'll be back in 10 minutes. So about a 10-minute break. Those of you watching, first of all, we love you. Thank you for being here. And second of all, go get a snack. Go refresh yourself and meet us back here in 10 minutes. Bye. Welcome back. All right. So when we last left our four drifters, they had made each other's acquaintance and decided on a snap read of each other to go on a job for Bobby Rockwell, the LRC operator of Waypoint. Turns out that there's some LRC repair parts that are needed in Las Veyudas, and these four drifters are going to transport them instead of making that settlement wait a whole week for the Nomad Pack that services them to swing back through Waypoint to pick it up. So you four have a day, and it's still early morning, coming into like, I guess, mid-morning at this point. But you are entering the Free State Bed and Brew to have some food, have some drinks, and more or less get to know each other before you hit the road for the next tomorrow and for the next few days. So, we are going to have you lot roll Shoot the Shit. Any of you who are just joining us, Shoot the Shit is a mechanic in Manifest where through either prolonged time together or instances like this where they're specifically trying to get to know each other, characters, each character selects another character to roll Shoot the Shit with, and depending on how they roll, they either reveal something about themselves to that character, bond with that character over something, or on a bad roll, they stir up some bad blood between both characters, which is always great right before going on a 2 to 3 day journey with
In session 1
with some strangers. Yeah. So who wants to roll Shoot the Shit with whom? To set the stage, basically, it's really quick and easy to recognize that Eloise and Porter are residents of the Free State Bed and Brew. The staff here seems to know them, recognize them. You're able to either belly up to the bar or get a nice table, and you get plenty of food and stuff that's kind of included in most of it's included in Eloise's rent, but some of it's included in Porter's rent. And so you're able to get a run of some food, and if you want to like drink excessively, it might cost an extra spur or two throughout the day or night. But at the very least, you're all able to get a few Peraspera ales and Copperbird pale ales to wet your gullets and loosen yourselves up as you get to know each other.
I will pick Eloise. Also, I get water.
Okay.
I'll pick Porter.
Okay.
Right. I suppose that means I should pick Dex.
And I'll pick Gus.
Nice. Got the full circle. I will say, so Dex is abstaining from drinking anything, just having some water. Gus, do you drink some of the beer?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, he tries not to drink too much, but if it's really good,
It's
he'll probably drink.
extremely good. Like there's like a couple like brewers and even a couple plenty of wineries in Winona Valley where you hail from in the garden, and so like you've had like freshly brewed beer before. Like that's not what makes this good. It's not just that it's fresh from the brewery right there. Like this is like it's
that the people knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they make some good beer. And the food is all really like hearty and savory and like flavorful with like all sorts of like melted cheeses and stuff like that. Like lots of like greasy like meat, and it's just a nice like beer and breakfast that you are having right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Gus, he's trying to get out there and see the world that he didn't get to see, and that Lisa didn't get to see. So yeah, he's enjoying himself. He might forget himself just a little bit with the drinking, but hey, he's having a good time.
Nice. So yeah. So everyone.
Well, these 2 dice are going to determine if he has
Yeah.
a good time.
So all of you have selected your who you're going to be rolling shoot the shit with. Go ahead and roll your dice. You roll your personality as an attribute only test, and we'll see how y'all get along.
Do I get a first impression for a test like this?
You do.
Yeah.
This one shoot the shit.
Mm-mm.
All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead.
All right. So you selected Porter, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How many successes did you roll?
I got 1 success.
Hey, Porter, you get to learn something about Gus. It can be something you're interested in or something that Gus feels forthcoming about. Right now, we know what the scene is. You have breakfast and some very nice beer in front of you. And the whole point of being here is to get to know each other.
Unless you have something.
No, I mean, one thing you might notice is he wears on a short chain around his neck a pendant bearing the symbol of the Triptych Faith.
All right. That does pique my interest. I'll point it out for sure. So upon first seeing the 2 of you roll up, I figured, big beefy boy and a man with very fancy guns. You're in the drifting game as well. I would have guessed experts from the look of at least this one over here. But a triptych pastor, triptych father. Are you father, or are you just?
Oh no, goodness no. I'm just follower, believer. I try to walk Alana's footsteps. As tough as it gets, and
I'm familiar, and you're a triptych parishioner, and you're traveling with at least a lowercase G gunslinger. How did that happen?
Yeah,
Is Porter just like dually gonna be like, I'm gonna get bad blood while I'm at it?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll find out.
yeah. No, I worked on a farm sort of my whole life.
Sure.
And was raised in the Triptych Faith, and we were very devout, and a lot of meditation, a lot of centering yourself, a lot of, sort of reading and listening to the verities and trying to apply them. But farm got sold. The farm got sold a few months back, and I decided I wanted to get out. And so I was heading over to Waypoint, because that's where you sort of got to start getting out. Everybody sort of starts at Waypoint, and I was trying to put up my car in this garage in some old town, and these 2 guys, they said they had a private garage and my car would be a lot safer there, and I thought, well, that's perfect, because I really want my car to be safe. You, judging by the looks in your eyes, that's a
I see where
scam.
this is going. Yeah,
Something that I did not know at the time was a scam. And then sort of Dex walked over and he said, hey, if you try to swindle this man, I'll shoot you dead. All that sort of stuff he says. And they didn't swindle me. And I was grateful for him. And we shared some drinks and found out he was coming to Waypoint too. And, it's nice to have a friend on the journey and extra set of driving hands. So yeah, I picked up picked up Dex in my car, and we made it here by our last combined 3 spurs. We stopped for a week and did some work, but we made it here, and yeah, I'm grateful for him. He's taught me a lot.
You know, the journey to Waypoint is seldom without its dangers. So I'm glad that you had somebody there to protect you from getting your vehicle stolen. That's how they get you, especially starting out. You know, they can smell the whiff of a new drifter right off the bat somehow sometimes.
Yeah, no, it was nice to have him. He did quite a bit of protecting me on the road. Not that I couldn't protect myself,
Obviously.
but he protects quicker and more judiciously than I tend to. Sometimes that's just good. That's just handy, I guess.
I'll pick up my drink and say, to justice.
Yeah, to justice,
Nope.
to new friends.
Justice and new friends, and I'll catch Dexter's eye as I say that, because I have a feeling he might not trust my brand of justice.
Yeah, Porter, how many successes did you roll? You chose Dex, right?
I did.
How many successes did you roll? Now that you're
I did get 1 success.
Oh, okay. Only the one. Yeah. So, Porter cheers with Gus, and then swings his glass over to you, Dex, to cheers with you.
I'll click glasses.
And Dex, you get to learn something about Porter.
So I've been around the Badlands a bit, but I wouldn't call myself well traveled. I can't place your accent, Porter.
Oh, you know, bit of here, bit of there. Mostly from Markham's Landing myself.
City fellow, then.
Right. Factory town. As you know, I've spent some time on some ships, and my mother's from nowhere, so nowhere, the town in the waste. So it comes from a little bit of that as well.
Seth, take a grit.
Yes.
Is it on the map? It's we can't see it on the map. It is on the map. There is a town called Nowhere in the Wastes, but it doesn't make it into our overlay. Sorry, continue.
So the wastes of Markham's Landing to Waypoint. That's quite a journey.
Most of my work is in shipping, so I've traveled the seas and the rivers for the past few years at least.
It's got to be interesting work. I mean, I grew up near a creek, but I've never really been down a river.
Oh, have you ever seen one of those big freighters?
No, not in person.
Oh, it's a lovely sight, especially to be on one. I can tell you that. It's one of the freest times of my life for certain.
More so than as a drifter in Waypoint.
Well, you know, part of being a drifter is you take a job here, you take a job there. When you're working on a ship, you have your job, and your job is your living, and you're living on your job. You know, so it's that kind of what do you call it? Stability that gives you its own kind of freedom. Whereas, you know, out here in the Badlands, you're looking for a job every which way.
Sure, I suppose that makes sense.
And is it the freedom that you're looking for?
Not exactly.
All right, strong and silent type, aren't you? I'm starting to get you pegged, Dex.
Sure.
Dex, you selected Eloise. How many successes did you roll?
I'm going to spend grit, because what is it for if not to spend it?
You could ask that.
I'm gonna spend 2 grit to have 3 successes.
Oh, Dex
right.
and Eloise are gonna bond.
Somebody has to be friends at the first part of this road trip.
Excuse me?
Yeah, so maybe the evening carries on a little bit. I'm going to maybe reveal a little bit more about Porter to Gus, because Porter, you touched on Gus's faith as Triptych, and you were raised Icthitarian, right?
Right, yes.
So I think maybe there's a point, like, as the afternoon carries on, where Gus and Porter not like aren't having by any means a theological conversation, but basically just like a practical, like, oh yeah, well, you know, we do this on this day, like that kind of thing, like where they're like,
Right.
like Gus has never seen an Icthitarian, like they mostly just hang out around the waist. So so you guys are basically just kind of talking a little bit about just like casual, like religious conversation as far as like two people who are raised differently, and that gives like Dexter and Eloise a moment where like those two are kind of engrossed in a conversation, and there's potentially like beginnings of an awkward silence on the other half of the table.
Yeah, I think there's the beginnings of an awkward silence in which Dexter is totally comfortable.
And Eloise is completely uncomfortable and thinking she's being judged immediately. So, which is fine.
So, you and Porter seem like an odd match to me.
How so?
Well, you're
You think that he's like real tall, and I'm like, did that, you know, or what?
no, it's just you're very forthcoming and I guess not straightforward, but open, and he is not.
Oh, well, he just sort of gets people, but the thing about people from his perspective is that they're as likely to kind of pain you in your, you know, in your heart than as they are to pain you, you know, in like by shooting you. Not that I don't think he's ever been shot, but he might have been on his travels. I don't know. Sometimes, anyway, it doesn't matter. But no, it's just, you know, you got to be a little guarded. I think it's a defense mechanism because he's real open with me, and like he translates for me a lot, because a lot of times I say stuff and then I'm like, oh wait, but actually this connects to that, and then like and it sort of like rambles on forever, and so then people get real bored and then they don't really like me that much, and then but that's okay, because like there's always more people, and you know, it's not like a lot of people like me before, so like, you know, it's not like taken away from a sum total, but that's why I like tinkering and stuff is like easier, because then like if you make yourself useful and like stuff like that, then like people have to like you because you're useful, you know, because like people don't want people around that aren't useful, but they do want people around who are useful. So that's why I think, and then like tinkering also just comes real natural to me, you know, because
Why'd you stop?
oh, I realized I was doing the thing that I just started telling you that I would do, but then I got lost in my thoughts, and then I thought, well, this has gone on too long, Eloise, you should stop talking. But then I didn't, and instead I just sort of kept talking, and then I realized that like I had only been talking for a real long time, and you had said like nothing, and then I got worried that you were like, wow, and 3 days, and then like I was like, it's not actually 3 days, it's probably 6, because we got to come back to, and like practicality would dictate that it's pretty much a week, and so I realized that I was talking. I was thinking that I had kept talking, and so then I stopped.
I don't mind. We spend a lot of time in silence where I've trained.
Yeah, you're gonna be a gunslinger, right?
One day.
That's real neat. I looked at your eyes, and I saw it. I mean, like they aren't as good as they can be, and I didn't want to like offer to make them better, because like, you know, that I feel like that's a thing that like would be like like you got to do it yourself, or like you got to like climb the highest mountain or something, and then like you get it or something like that. And so I was like,
it's funny you mention there is a mountain.
cool. Yeah, I just I don't know. I just thought that you would be, and then like but if it like breaks or something and you like want, I'm like pretty good at tinkering, like I said, because I said a lot. But you're gonna be a gunslinger.
I hope so one day. I'm on what's called the rite of reflection. I trained with my master for a few years, and I'm still a novitiate, but our guild has a point in our training where we're told to return when we feel ready to face the final trial before becoming a gunslinger.
It's like real emotional.
It is.
Yeah. Well, that's, how do you know? Like, how could you be so sure about stuff? I mean, like, you seem like you could be so sure about stuff, but like, how is it that like you could be? How do you know? Is there like a criterion? Do you have like a list? We could probably find it for you.
No, there's no lists. I don't know how you know, but I'm told I'll know when I know.
Oh, that sounds like a little bit of hokum, but that doesn't mean that it is. It could be very, there's lots of things we don't know about a lot of things, right? Like, like illumination, maybe like it has something to do with that. You'll just like, you'll get a little voice in your head and it's like, hi, now's the time, so.
That would be surprising, but I guess I can't 100% take it off the table as a possibility.
If I ever talk too much, you let me know though, because you seem kind of pleasant sometimes. I don't know. I think.
Part of my training is I get the sense it reads as disinterested. But it's not. And I'll tell you if you talk too much.
Okay. It's a deal. I'll tell you if you don't talk enough.
Deal.
Because then it's like, because reflection, and that means that like you're thinking about yourself, and then you're like, you said there was a mountain, and it's like, oh, well, mountains are lonely. And then it was like, maybe it's like a whole you don't talk thing. And then I was like, well, when we have the opposite problem. So I could just say something, and I'm good at that.
To deals and new friends, I raise my glass.
I don't know where I put my cup.
Meanwhile, Eloise, you selected Gus, correct?
I did.
How many successes did you roll?
3.
Okay.
But I also misfired.
Interesting. Cool.
I think I've got a good thing maybe for that.
Well, so you guys definitely bond. The misfire isn't on your relationship though.
Yeah.
Eloise, I think you know what the misfire is. I don't, definitely like not 100%, but like I think you maybe revealed just a little too much during your exchange with Gus.
Okay.
Just a little bit, just a little too much.
Okay.
But otherwise, the two of you bond.
Hey, Eloise, we've been sort of like I was sort of sitting on that stool over there, and you've sort of sitting on this stool over here. And then this one over next to you opened up. So I figured I'd sit down and chat with you for a while.
Okay.
How are you? Why are you in Waypoint?
Well, uh I wanted to go somewhere where I was useful. And so because I had have family, but they are not they're not really like anything. And well, I mean, there's something, but like, and they're like, they're like something. And then my people are like, oh, but anyway, they're like, but like to me, they ain't really anything. And so like, um, so I like left them. And then like I came here, and like I didn't really know much because I'd never really left Iron Harbor before. But like well, I had once, but then I I almost died on the way out. So because there was a helicopter crash and I was in it and I lived, and like everybody else died, except for like, so that was real sad. And then they like couldn't find me for a while, which is really funny. Not like years or
Oh,
anything. It was like a couple of hours. And then and
dude,
then
how'd you survive out there? I mean, how old were you?
oh, I
Were
was
you
like,
okay? I guess you had to be okay because you're sort of here,
yeah.
but that
No,
sounds horrible.
yeah, they found me in like a tree. So um I just I don't know. I think probably they like threw me out and I landed in a tree. I don't know. But like the physics doesn't make sense in either way. So it could have been miraculous or something, or like, but no, I was real little. Um
Huh.
I was like maybe two-ish, and I was going to see a specialist in Alanisted, but then that happened, and then I never made it
Oh,
there. Um,
were you sick?
s- some people think so.
Uh oh.
I'm not
Huh.
actually. Sorry, that was so weird and down, like making such a downer. No,
No.
my parents didn't necessarily mind, but I they didn't, they just wanted the best, they wanted me to have like a real good
Right.
tutor. And so like, and like to see that it like, anyway, so then so then they found me because I was like crying out. um and then
Yeah.
yeah, and so then I hadn't until then left Waypoint, or no, that's where I ended up. No, Ann Harbor. And I got on my jetpack and I went to the train station, and I had
Jetpack.
saved up for a while to get on the train, and then when but I didn't but then Waypoint was nice, and there's a bank here, and I had a, quite a bit of money at the time. Um and so I just sort of stayed here, and I met everybody who like kind of at least tolerates me. And then Porter moved in across the hall almost a year ago. We've almost known each other that long. And then I just I didn't yeah, I don't know. This was weird.
No, hey, look, Eloise, you mentioned that you were on a jetpack and a helicopter and a train and everything, and you seem like the sort of person got a lot of stories, and you got a lot of aptitude and willingness to tell them. And I just ordered myself a big lunch, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna eat my lunch, and I want to hear all your stories because they sound amazing. I want to know what it's like to be on a jetpack. I want to know what it's like on that dang crazy train, and I I don't I don't I don't know. I don't like to tell too many people either, but I don't know. I get a feeling from you, and Dex already knows, but I don't know. Well, I get a little sick sometimes too. But my folks said that open-minded people help out people who are sick.
Well, Porter doesn't know.
Well, then we won't tell him.
Okay.
All right, now you got to tell me the jetpack thing. Hey, oh, here comes the chicken. It's. Please tell me the jetpack.
Yeah, so whatever, like, not everybody, but a lot of people who like have enough money, like, because there's such big towers in Iron Harbor, you just
Yeah. Yeah, and Gus, you learned that in Iron Harbor, jetpacks are one way that people get around, but also they have bicycles that fly. She says a bunch of like
You just
techno
pedal it
babble
straight
about
up.
like how it ionizes like the wings, and that creates like a electric current that like raises the bicycle off the ground as you pedal, and then that allows you to fly around. A lot of that doesn't make sense to you. What you get from that is that people get on bicycles, they pedal, and they go from one building to the next with the ground way far below them.
Wow. So, like, when you're going upwards, does it feel like you're backing uphill?
Yeah, actually a little bit. I never really put it together, but like you gotta, like, it's not as much work, but like you gotta, if you don't want to spend all the battery, you gotta back harder basically. So you can either choose to spend the battery or you can back harder. Like for you, you could probably just, I just plug my back in, like, well, when I did it, I would just plug my back in as soon as I landed, and then but like you could probably just like go manual almost. So you look like you have
God yeah, I mean, god dang, it sounds like the funnest workout I heard.
Cool. So we've done the full circuit, yeah? Yeah. All right. So it gets into the late afternoon, early evening time. The sun is starting to get a little low. You've spent breakfast and lunch together. Dinner is not too far on the horizon. As the four of you have gotten to know each other and hopefully felt a little more comfortable about partaking in this journey starting tomorrow. But you do still have some time in the evening. Waypoint is still bustling, and Eloise and Porter knows it will continue to bustle for some time. As the trains do continue to come, and a couple nomad packs have already made it through town, picking up people and cargo and moving them along. This town keeps moving at all times. Plenty, like, during your time here, like, you've seen whole like 2 or 3 big rushes in the Free State Bed and Brew of people getting like food and drink and like renting rooms and stuff, and then moving on. And it's been new faces every time. It's not like returning people. It's like people passing through, and in general you get the sense that like these are transient folk who are just hitting Waypoint for at minimum a couple days, at most a couple weeks. And it is now almost evening time as you finish your shoot the shit, and now you guys have to decide what you want to do and the rest of your time here at Waypoint before you head out in the morning.
I've got a suggestion for one thing that I think Gus would do.
Okay.
All right, Dix, I cannot put it off anymore. I gotta know about these dang vampires.
Yeah. It's been eating at me.
Yeah. Busted it open and just sort of pour over it, like on the bar, sort of reading it together.
What is this you're reading?
So this is A Light in the Darkness. It's an LRC serial. Have you heard of it?
I guess that's something I could roll for, Tommy. I don't know if
I
I've
think
heard
you've
of
probably heard of it.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I've heard of it. I'm not familiar with the too many of the plot points. What's it about?
I think both Dex
Oh
and
my
Gus
God.
like look at each other as if to like see who's going to explain it.
So here's the thing: to really get it, you got to go back. Okay, so pre second evil twin twist. Oh, you sort of got to start at the beginning, really. So there's a detective, and a cultist detective, and his name is Rico Kasich, and he's got this wife Rachel. Oh, but she's missing. She got taken by cultists, and so he's got to go and find her. And like he runs into like werewolves and vampires and like zombies and like all sorts of like luminescent creatures and like chupacabra and everything that there is. And he's trying to get her, and then he gets her. He finds his wife. Oh, good. Oh no! It turns out, oh God, it's Victoria, his wife's evil twin.
Veronica.
And it's Veronica, his wife's evil. Thank you, his wife's evil twin. and where's his wife? We don't know. He's got to keep looking. And like, oh, it's just so good. One page after another, it just keeps you on your toes. You never know what sort of scrapes he's going to get into next.
Could I borrow that? Or after the two of you are done with it?
I believe the two of you have several issues in the.
Honestly, if you really want to get into it, we have it from the start in the car.
I'm always looking for new reading material, so yeah, maybe on the trip over we can start it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, I'd love to re-listen with now some of the context I've got and the things we learned like sort of now.
See,
It'd be good to come in fresh and remember it.
It sounds.
Yeah, we can read it on the
You
trip.
had me at werewolves, lads.
All right.
They almost had him.
So Dex and Gus are catching up on A Light in the Darkness. What about Eloise and Porter? Are you doing anything else with your evening? Or are you turning in early because you're gonna get an early start to the day?
I think for sure I'm gonna take Rand's message to heart, and I need to make some things before we leave on our trip.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay, so you maybe head back to your room to start brewing up some tonics?
Yeah, right. I think I'll give them all the nod and say, see y'all in the morning.
Dex and Gus are like as they're like as like, you know, Dex is patiently waiting for like Gus to finish his page, and then Gus like is like, you ready? And Dex gives him a nod and he turns the page.
Good night.
Good to see you. Glad to be back here, I suppose.
But not for long, because we're heading out we're gonna travel together. So like,
I know.
you can't get rid of me. So
No, you can't get rid of me. I think that's the real.
well, it'll be. I think it's the first time I'm leaving Waypoint without, like somebody like that I'm like studying under, so like it'll be cool
Right.
to like go out, sort of
I
not
think
go
it-
out. No, I mean like head
No.
out,
Travel
travel with
together, right?
with two other people.
Right. And thank
Right.
goodness we've got
Right.
them, because I don't know what we do with those.
I feel
bandits
really
happening around
lucky
the
for
two of
finding
us.
them. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, do you need anything? I was just some potions before we head out. if you'd
Oh
like
no,
something.
I'm all right. I'm actually I'm working on. I've got a project that I probably should put some time in on, since
Right.
I spent the whole day
Well-
not doing that. So I should probably focus. And but thank you for asking. But I'm fine.
Well, sleep well. All right. Let me know if there's anything you need,
I will.
and I'll head up and start working on some tonics.
Sure. Porter, as
Um,
you get to your room, or are you both going to your separate rooms?
Nope. I mean
You're doing other things.
I have to. Yeah.
Cool. So Porter, when you get to the room, there is a moment where you look at the ribbon on your door that lets you know that Eloise is in town, and then right nearby your door is her door that you put a ribbon on this morning when you got into town, and you realize the two of you don't have a protocol for basically the protocol is you remove a ribbon when one of you leaves to let the other one know that you've left town. But now you're both leaving town. So do you keep the ribbons there? Do you take them away? Who's the message for now, really? And then you walk into your apartment. Yeah. So Porter, you want to do some crafting? Let's do it. Let's do some crafting. What do you want to craft?
I want to make some tonics. I want to make a positive tonic, and then depending on how long that takes me, I'm going to do some negative ones as well.
Okay. What kind of properties do you want this tonic to have? Because that will determine how long it takes you.
I think you sent me this at one point. I'm going to find the information that I need, but I'd like for it to. I'd like for one of them to be a +1 finesse tonic for certain.
Okay, so you want to make a tier 1 tonic that just has that property, right? You'll get 3 doses after you've completed it. So,
okay,
cool. So, so that's a tier 1. So every time you roll, that's gonna take 30 whole minutes.
All right.
So let's go ahead and have you roll first aid. You have to consume a first aid cube to create this.
At least did marginally better than the other. Two successes.
Hey, that's what you need. You make an excellent quality. You make 3 doses, so 3 tonics of excellent quality +1 to finesse skills. There's no side effects because it's excellent quality.
Perfect.
And it's only tier 1, so you remove the side effect that it would have had. So just 3 totally pure, and that only takes you 30 minutes. You get into work, get down, you sit down, you lay out your supplies, and then start, running some analysis with you have a med kit, right? So running some analysis with your med kit, and then you're able to transmute some of the properties you have into 3 tonics that were kind of raise someone's dexterous abilities. And you get 3 tier 1 excellent quality +1 finesse skills tonics, and you still have plenty of night left ahead of you if you want to keep going, if you have supplies.
Right, yeah, I've got the supplies. So using another first aid, can you remind me of the negative effects of some of the tonics? I never did find that message.
Yeah. So you can make, as far as negative, as far as toxins go, there's for tier 1, there's nausea, there's deal just damage, there's you can have the opposite where it subtracts skills. You can, for tier 2 stuff, you can make it something that puts someone to sleep, something that removes one of their senses. You can make it affect an attribute instead of skills in a skill group. You can make it subtract an attribute.
I think I am going. I'd like to make. Sorry, go ahead and finish it.
No, go ahead.
I think I'd like to make a blindness tonic.
Okay, cool. So that's a tier 2. So it's gonna take you a little bit more time to make, but you can absolutely do that.
Right.
Go ahead and roll. You do need 2 first aid cubes to make it.
Good. And it's still first aid, even though it's the opposite of first aid, right?
Yes.
Ooh, that's 3 hits, lad.
Ooh. Okay, so you don't quite finish it.
Right.
Oh no, wait, you exactly finish it, but it takes you the rest of the night.
Sure.
And it's excellent quality, which means it only has. Oh wait, no, it's negative tonic, so it's not about side effects. It makes it so it is that much harder to resist. So you make 3 doses of blindness tonic. It's a tier 2 tonic that is excellent quality. Make sure you notate that because that will determine the negatives that they're at that anyone would have to resist it.
Right.
And that takes up your night. That's 12 hours right there. So
Perfect.
you actually aren't even, you're like not completely done by the end of the night. But like when you like wake up early and like work on it, like before you leave, you'll have enough time to like finish it.
Sure.
So yeah, you just work through the rest of the night on that. You make the finesse tonics, and then you crack your knuckles. You're like, all right, okay, and then you start looking at some of your other ingredients and start like grinding things in poultices and running them through like a synthesizer and your med kit, and eventually are able to kind of create this thing that upon intake will render somebody blind. And you're like wearing goggles and stuff while you're using it, like in your filtration mask, because the moment you like breathe it in or splash it in your eye, you're gonna be blind for like 10 minutes.
Proper lab safety,
And yeah, so that's what Porter does with his night. Eloise, you said you wanted to do some stuff this evening as well.
Sure. So, first of all, I let Porter go up first so he doesn't hear me chastise myself as I go up the stairs. Oh yeah, go out. No, this is great, Eloise. He just like knows now. And now it's like, what are you gonna do? So it's like, just like, of course, yeah, right. Like basically like totally like feeling like I put my foot in it. And then I am working on a night vision mod for my armor.
Oh sure.
So I'm not cutting corners or anything like that, but I did want to start working on it so it's like sort of like either like a headband or like deployable somehow.
Sure.
Just because it goes in my armor, but my armor also is like wearable like a real person. You don't have to look like a big tin can. So
so you have you need 2 machinery cubes and 4 tech cubes in order to begin work on a night vision modification for your
which I do have.
Okay, perfect.
So I spend those.
And then you can roll technology or machinery at a -2.
Does blacksmith doesn't apply, right? It's armor, but it's a mod.
No, it's an armor mod. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's tier 2. But I do want to work. Like I do want to sleep tonight. So like.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a -2, but then blacksmith gives me +1.
If you're rolling
Right.
machinery, yeah, instead of technology.
Oh.
Technology is no modifier. Machinery is a -2.
Oh, gotcha. No, I will roll machinery.
Okay.
I'm
so-
working on the deployment mechanism.
Mhm.
So that's 2. That's 2 hits. Oh, but nope, I don't have a reroll. Oh, does my Omni tool? It's excellent quality. Does that give me a reroll?
It gives you reliability and a bonus to your skill.
Okay. Great. I have 2 hits. I can do math.
Okay, 2 successes does not complete this. If you were to get 3, you would complete this, and it would be excellent quality. Oh no, wait. I'm backwards. I lied to Porter too. Porter, you're not gonna finish your stuff in time. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong part of the crafting code. No, you're 1 success away as well. Unless you want to spend grit, you need to spend another 12 hours working on it. Same goes for you, Eloise.
Sure.
I
will. I'll spend Actually, I only have 1 grit, so I'm fine not finishing it tonight.
Cool. So Eloise, you can mark 3 successes in your crafting journal for your night vision advanced prosthetic mod for your armor. And you can mark down all of that. You just need one more success. You just need to find another 12 hours to work on it.
Okay.
By spending grit, that would be twisting the knife, right?
Twisting the knife would be the most efficient way to do it. You could
Right.
play to the gallery if you were that close.
My dice aren't cooperating, so no,
Sure.
I'm gonna twist the knife.
Cool. Yeah. So you twist the knife. Now you got your successes. You did complete your tonic. In the morning, Eloise, you make some good progress. Basically, you've had like your helmet kind of be this thing that's like built into the collar of your clothing, and it's been a little cumbersome, and it's like gotten like it's not been like perfect with your hair. Like you've had to like kind of like have aspects that were like exposed, and so what you end up doing instead is you break that collar part down, because you need to do that anyways just to get into the inner workings, and you start to like realize you can like make nodes using the same kind of technology that you have in the different like panels of your armor built into your clothing. You find these like little nodes that you're able to like kind of attach right under your hairline as like areas for your helmet to deploy from, and you make pretty good progress on that, but you're still haven't that takes a lot of time, and you're close to making it so that it can deploy directly over your eyes and then provide you the night vision that you're looking for. But you're not quite there yet. All right.
Great.
Now, Dexter and Gus. Detective Rico Kazik, he begins this issue surrounded by vampires, but luckily he knows, even though he was knocked unconscious and put into a cave, the watch that he was given by his grandfather is still on his wrist. And so there's a good like a couple pages where he like thinks on his grandfather, has a memory of his grandfather giving him this watch and stuff like that. You know, a lot of like emotional core. But the watch tells him that it's almost sunrise. And so realizing that he's outgunned and outnumbered, he begins like talking to the vampires and trying to like wheel and deal with them a little bit. And he uses his illuminated abilities to kind of like sway them into like continuing talking to him as he sidles over, starting to almost make a deal with him, and then he rips the shutters off and the light shines through because he made them talk until sunrise, and they all burst into dust. And then he finds amongst one of their clothing a note that is signed in the same handwriting as Veronica, his wife's evil twin. And he opens it up, and it's a map, and that's where it ends.
Oh, he got out of another one. God, I don't know why I doubted him. Rico always gets out.
Okay. I'm a little bit lost. I don't understand how Veronica would have gotten in touch with these vampires based on what we know from where she was left when Rico kicked her into that well. I thought she was trapped there.
God, you know, I'm done assigning normal, rational things to that woman. She doesn't operate on the same plane as the rest of us. I think she can fly and influence people's minds. Like, you know,
You think she
I
has
don't know.
powers we haven't
She's-
seen on the page yet?
I think she's got powers ain't nobody never heard of yet. She's unstoppable.
Well, I don't know about unstoppable.
Yeah, Rico could probably stop her. God, I hope Rico stops her. Remember how happy he was with Rachel? God. Anyways, it was a good one. That was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a good one. All that stuff about his grandfather, man, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about his grandfather, and now I like his grandfather a good deal. Well, anyways, I'm gonna decide. I think I'm gonna do some calisthenics and some push-ups and some sit-ups. You know, just some nightly workouts, and then. Oh, did we get rooms?
Yeah, Eloise
Here?
and Porter, during the shoot the shit, did you arrange for them to get rooms?
I think I would have, yeah.
Okay. Probably just a
I
spur
think it's actually room.
room. Okay. So you could get them a very cramped room for 1 spur, or you could get them a comfortable room for 2 spurs.
I
I can
have
drop
to
a couple of spurs.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Cool.
I think I
One
would want it
each?
to feel fair, like, yeah, one each,
One
absolutely.
each. All right.
Cool. Yeah. So Gus and Dexter, you do have a shared room. It is modest in size. It does not have its own running water. It does have a little window though that lets you actually look back, not into the main thoroughfare, but into the courtyard, behind the Free State Bed and Brew. There's basically a little offshoot from the main thoroughfare that leads to this kind of like wide courtyard that's behind a bunch of residences and like businesses, and it's like a stone paved courtyard, a little bit different than some of the other roads around here. And there is a fountain in the center. Nothing super extravagant, but basically it's like a well with like a fountain attached to it. And like there's like a kind of like a statue scene in there, which I don't know if either of you know the story behind, but you do see someone like kind of like standing there, holding a gun, and like standing on like this kind of like this carapace that almost looks like a person, but not quite. And they're like standing up amongst like some rubble, kind of like in a heroic pose. It's made out of stone.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back out in that courtyard and I'm gonna do some quick exercises. You can clean your guns and then I'll be back up and we can meditate.
Sure.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah. So
He goes out and
yeah,
he
Gus
just works it.
Gus, you go out, you do some laps around that courtyard. You get a couple weird looks from people, but not actually that much. Like, this is not like people, they don't care. You're just a big muscular person doing some laps. Like, people are like, okay. And you do like, your general workout. It's a little hard. You don't have like a punching bag or anything. So you're mostly just shadow boxing and trying to like kind of do cardio and stuff like that. You do manage to look, there is a plaque. There's a plaque on the statue, and you see there's 2 figures in the statue. There's the one with the gun, and then there's another one kind of standing behind him, who's wearing like kind of like a robed figure, and you can tell he's like got like mechanical limbs. And it says Samuel Sweets and Rusty Lockhart gave their lives bravely in the defense of Waypoint and the Badlands in the year 412.
So that's like 60 years prior to right now?
No, not that far. It's like 15 years ago. Which you would
15?
even not like knowing necessarily that story, that 15 years ago marks the end of the proto-martyr crisis, where a cult of technologically like advanced people rose up and tried to like burn the Badlands to the ground, and it kind of culminated in several battles that hit a bunch of factory towns, but also Waypoint.
Right. It's a good statue. And then he just like hits the ground and starts doing those like push-ups where you jump up and clap.
Do that, do some burpees, and then go back in. Dexter, you're able to kind of lay out your guns in front of, or like on a table in the room. You're able to like clean them, reassemble them. You have some time to think. So the guns that are depicted in your character art are not yet the guns that you have. Your guns are similar in design, but much more plain looking. And they definitely don't have any hard caliber elements to them. They are not able to kind of like supercharge your shots in the way that hard caliber pistols do. They're
They
very
are very well made and quite simple.
yes, but you're able to clean them, polish them, reassemble them, and by the time you're done, Gus returns with a thick sheen of sweat over himself as he kind of like towels off walking in.
And then I think we just settle into like the nightly ritual we've had over like the past nearly month on the road of like we just sit down and meditate together for like 20 minutes or half hour before bed.
Yeah. So the two you just kind of sit in silence, and as you do, you can hear the sounds of the town roaming around you. Through that window, you hear people talking, you hear children, you hear the Golden Spike Saloon down the way echoing every once in a while as it gets particularly loud. And then as you're continuing to sit there meditating, it sounds as though Waypoint is slowing down for the evening. The saloon stops playing the piano. You hear some voices still, but you also hear shops closing up. You hear people saying goodnight to each other. And eventually it gets quieter and quieter till there's only just a few voices in the night, who seem to be speaking in not secretive tones, but polite tones so as not to disturb the rest of the town. And two of you are able to stand up from your meditation, go to sleep. And that's where go ahead.
Oh, I know we're right at the end. I don't think Dex can go to sleep yet.
Oh yeah? What you got?
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Post-credit scene.
I was debating it until it was you were like, and then it ends. And I was like, nope, that's not right. So I'll say to Gus, I'll be right back. And I will go find Porter's room.
Sure. Yeah, you're able to figure it out. People saw you two drinking together and anything, so like it's really easy for you to pop down and be like, "Hey, where does Mr. Janus sleep?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is where his room is." And you're like, "Thanks." Like no one thinks you're up to anything because they saw you guys spend an entire day like drinking and carousing. So you go up, but you're able to approach his door. You do see that it has a little ribbon tied to the handle, and there's a neighboring door that also has a very similar ribbon tied to it.
Huh. I knock on the door.
Open it.
Yeah, you're awake, Porter. You're still working on your stuff.
Right. Hello.
Hi. Typically I would have been better about this. You're not planning to pay us the fair share of the job, right?
I was going to see how useful you were on the job and kind of go from there, but you are very perceptive.
I would prefer if you rethink that position.
Will you do your fair share of the work then?
I always intended to.
All right. I suppose that's fair.
Good night, Porter.
Good night, Dex.
And that's where we'll end tonight's session. All right. We're back. All right, cool. So I know we have at least a couple questions in the Kickstarter exclusive Discord. But those of you in the chat, if you have any questions you'd like to throw our way about these characters, about the setting, about the RPG, about the players, toss it in. We'll answer whatever questions you want to throw at us. And in the meantime, I have two questions from good old Argitlam. Argitlam has one of his classic "Let's build some characters and manifest" questions. So he has Dr. Otto Octavius Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man as a character that he was wondering if you could make in Manifest. We're all sitting here trying to like
You
rack our.
can make like a reasonable facsimile of Dr. Octopus, but I don't think the rules allow you to entirely construct 4 additional robotic arms.
What if
Yeah.
but what if you had power armor and you used some of those like additional mod points?
Yeah,
There's
there's not a
there's
power mod that.
you can't do that.
Sure.
It would
Um,
be pretty easy to like implement with a tiny bit of homebrew. But
Extremely.
there's nothing directly in the rules that's like extra arms for armor.
I think closest thing you can get maybe is to have a bunch of gear with weapon mounts. So like a shoulder mounted gun could be like, you know, on your armor, and then you could maybe modify,
You could have like a jetpack that also has a gun on it.
yeah, that kind of thing. Um
Okay, you're on a jetpack, you're wearing a jetpack, that has a gun on it. You've got your power armor, that has a gun on it. You're riding a motorcycle, that has a gun on it. I've gotten you 75% of the way there.
you could size down one of the like chicken walkers,
Oh, sure.
and like there's actually it's sort of freeform as far as like what vehicles look like. So like
You could mag belt yourself underneath a rooster strider and say it has 4 legs.
No. Oh my god.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you graft yourself to an automaton horse, you're most
Sure.
there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's a lot of funky ways to do it, but there's also, as Dan was saying, it's something that's very easy thing to homebrew because there is power armor and there are like mods you can put into power armor, but that are special and specific, and also use basically the same rules as prosthetics, but you might have to do a little bit of homebrew with your GM if you want to try
You could like take the rules for like the cargo drone, right? For its autonomous operation.
Yeah.
It rolls like athletics at a target of your technology, right?
Yeah,
With
I want
something like that.
to put
Do
it.
they have any other qualities? Are they just like for motility, or do they also have? I seem to remember there being like electronic capabilities. I don't really
I
remember.
mean,
all of
there's these wet and wild robot arms. They can do whatever Dr. Octopus needs them to do in that particular appearance.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
absolutely.
Cool. So, the other one he sent, which he points out in the chat is weirdly good for this particular episode, is he asked, what about Dracula? He says as seen in Castlevania, and the unfortunate thing is I don't know how Dracula is particularly different in Castlevania. I know
He shouts at you, "What is a man?" except a filthy little pile of secrets.
that's it. That's all it is.
There's some more, but I feel like I've communicated the gist of it.
Well, there is, I can say right now, as far as like vampiric type things, there is a somatic insight power called Consume, which is when you kill somebody, you suck some of their like life essence out as it's leaving their body, and you use that to heal yourself.
And there's no rule that says you can't be biting them while you do it.
It's the only somatic power that Gus has.
No.
You could also pretty easily take serpent's tongue for the sort of
Hypnotism.
yeah, the hypnotism kind of thing. And you could take puppeteer for like when, you know, this isn't Castlevania. This is just
I
like
think Castlevania Dracula's big thing is like everything that Dracula has, plus he can turn into like a giant demon Batman.
sure.
Yeah, Argilon says in the stream chat that that he teleports around a lot as his main means of transportation, and there is somatic power in manifest called Blink, which allows you to teleport to a spot that you can see.
It combos really well with Consume because it hurts to teleport.
Yeah, and so you teleport and you're a little bit hurt, and then you kill somebody and you feel better about it. Some of you can cast your minds back to the finale of season 1, where good old Leo Riggs did exactly that.
Yep.
That jerk.
But yeah, as far as the traditional Dracula stuff goes, you can certainly get him pretty close to like to regular Dracula, except for turning into a wolf or a bat or fog. I mean, I guess you can turn into shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
So-
can get pretty close with luminescent powers, and then like you could have an animal companion for his whole like children of the night. That's just wolves.
yeah. Yeah, just get a Warwick and animal
See the
companion.
metal tree.
Ah,
Ah!
He fell out of his chair.
Oh no.
oh no. I'm Porter now.
Oh, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I'm a big punchy boy.
I think you were Gus,
Hey.
yeah.
I'm gonna hit you and talk about Alana.
No, I'm gonna hit you and talk about Alana, which
all
I
right.
did want to talk about more in this episode, but I was just so, I was for some reason, so eager to get to the freaking comic book.
And
no.
then we have another question from Arget Lam in the Discord that says, what would be the tastiest animal on Manifest? What would be the worst tasting animal on Manifest? Two-parter.
Can I jump in really quick? I'm very excited about this question.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah, definitely.
So here's the thing about this question. It is answered, I think, with the same animal.
What?
Mm.
Because I think here's the thing, when the oh no, what is it called? The woolly trout
Oh, shit.
sheds its like toxin spindles. And it's probably like the most like tender, like greatest fish, and it's a super delicacy because it only happens like once a year and all this stuff. And then like any other time you eat a woolly trout, you probably get really poisoned and like die. So
But
it
does
would
that
probably taste real bad. I think it tastes bad.
I think
because
the one
the spindles are
Nothing's-
like made of are like toxins and like poisons, like literally the things that they have filtered out of the rivers.
Wow.
So I don't think it would taste
Nothing
good.
tastes worse than dying.
So I have a different answer, though the woolly
Okay.
trout is extremely good. I think the worst tasting thing on Manifest is a boo hag.
Yeah, so my
Ah.
mind went there too. Unfortunately, boo hag isn't in the core rulebook, but boo hags are these kind of like slug-like creatures that crawl into your mouth and then kind of turn you into a zombie.
Not
But
kinda.
Kinda.
my mind went there
But
too.
if they can, but
Uh,
if they can slip in undetected, that means they can't taste that bad, right?
Hey.
Well, the
But the
idea I
act
think
of
is that you're
eating them is
asleep.
bad. Yeah.
I'm saying if you ate a boo hag, it would taste really bad.
Like if you bit into one, it probably would be really gross.
And I think the worst tasting thing on Manifest is a roperite because of the revenge.
I also thought roperite just because I was like, yeah, it's chicken. It's just a big.
Roperite wings are probably very good and comically large.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they sell them at the Point the Way pub.
Like
So
at Gen Con when you get a dragon wing and it's like a whole turkey leg.
yeah, but my thought, the thing is, there's mechanically an animal that tastes so bad that you can't not throw up. You throw up the moment you taste it. And
Is it skunk ape?
that animal is a squonk.
Squonk!
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mechanically, when a squonk is frightened, it transmutes itself into water that it tastes so bad and is so salty and toxic tasting that the moment you drink that water, you throw up and there's no way to stop yourself from throwing up. So it's like a squonk is the worst tasting one.
I guess it's a squonk.
At least,
But what if
at
you
least
made like
mechanically
the
speaking.
squonk really relaxed and then you took a bite out of it?
They're also poisonous.
But there's like pufferfish on Earth, and they're also very poisonous, but people eat them, and they seem to like it.
Also, the moment you bite into a squonk, it's no longer relaxed. It turns into water in your mouth, and you throw up.
It's dead, ideally, before you bite it.
God, what are you, fucking Dracula up in here, biting into things and killing them in one bite?
Nom, nom, nom.
Here's my question: is how many bars on Manifest do you think is sort of like a dare shot special sell something called Squonk Water?
I think actually somebody, I think at one point in some game of Manifest, I don't know if it was on the stream or not. Actually, maybe it was Kinsey made a drink that was called like salted squonk or something like that.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but yeah, I like the idea of them having like a shot that like isn't squonk, but is made to taste as much like squonk as possible.
Yeah.
It's the malort
Yeah,
of
you trick your
Manifest.
friends into
Dare.
drinking it.
A shot of vodka and 2 tablespoons of salt.
But you know, as much as the squonk is disgusting, you know, I gotta remind everyone what they look like.
Cute.
Yeah, if you get it in that form, I bet it tastes good.
Come on, focus. I know you can do it. I've seen you do it before. My camera has been having a lot of trouble focusing though, so it might not actually be able to.
What if a squonk died in its sleep and then you ate it?
Then you'd be eating like rotten squonk, and that's terrible.
You cook it.
I think
Oh my god, Tommy, why do you think people can't cook things?
There we go.
I don't know that squonk die is the thing.
Oh, okay. You think they're like lobsters?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's
Now
a
that's
giant
different.
mama squonk in the center of Manifest.
Squonks can be killed, but they won't die of their own accord, is what you're positing here as a possibility.
All right. I'm writing down Mama Squonk Den. Module.
All right. I don't see any other questions in the stream chat. There's no more in the Discord. So I believe we are going to call it for tonight. We are so happy to be back, and we are going to be back next Tuesday, February 9th. We're going to watch these 4 drifters go out into the Badlands.
Not go out. Travel together.
Travel together.
It's different.
Travel together in the same direction with some cargo.
And other people.
Yeah, and other people are going to be there. Don't make it weird.
These 4 drifters are going to
made
be
it weird.
open mouth kissing their way into the Badlands.
Yeah, and so we will pick up again, same time, same place, February 9th. Thank you all so much. If you haven't already, you should follow us because then you get the notifications when we go live. If we ever do anything besides like the actual play, if we go live with something else or we host some other channel, that's how you can follow it. And if you can, subscribe as well. Any money we get goes into cool things like this updated layout and cool like microphones for like Roman and Seth and fuck Dan, I guess.
Hey, I'm well lit thanks to your patronage.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got you a ring light. Yeah. So we love you all so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next week. We'll find out what happens to Rico in some time.
Yeah, that's the
Bye.
important character.
Bye.